I don't believe trade is the main driver of that, but I'll grant that it does happen sometimes.
Who cares about bringing in money? Okay, the whole idea of running like a business.
I don't really think it's something that you should take. I don't know.
The argument against charging people rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typically the philosophical argument against
That's a legitimate criticism. I mean, you look at why USA was even invented.
I don't know. Like, I think a recurring theme or a recurring trend is that
less and less government. I want personal responsibility. I want personal accountability.
Say that I'm like left of liberal. I don't identify like a communist or this kind of stuff. Probably like a why would that be revelatory to know that water boils in?
About people who are diplomats or ambassadors from other.
Did I say that? Did I say that it was theoretically possible to include like it increase?
Natural society is a society where it's survival of.
You can. What you're describing, you can't do. It's, first of all, not what I'm talking about. Second of all, we can't.
So basically, like, even your Lord and Savior Donald Trump didn't do the best job.
That nature, you refer to it as being conscious, or the conscious community.
So I think that gay marriage at the Constitution at the Supreme Court level actually.
No, but my man just is in the building.
And I find it very interesting that fellow believers are.
Sure, there are examples, but these are minor examples compared to the ones that I'm giving. I'm talking about two.
It's unconstitutional, they shouldn't do it. But now they're arguing about, well, if they do it,
This video with a little blonde hair. Yeah, that's what your mom said last night too.
Let's ignore USAID. That's obviously upsetting you, and I get that because
no, it's not upsetting me.
There's a reason I'm successful. There's a reason why I'm liked.
This is exactly why Democrats.
And good evening and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sarah, the Raging Tomato, here bringing to you another fun impromptu with Brian Shapiro. He cannot get enough of our gauntlet. He loves it. He just can't. He can't get enough of it. So he said, let's do another one. Fuck it. Let's have some fun. And I said, okay, you got it. So ladies and gentlemen, I have officially dropped the open panel link back into the live chat. I'm calling out Cool V1C because he likes to stream snipe us, but he doesn't seem to have the balls to actually jump on the panel and talk to Brian himself. So I'm going to call you out, mofo. If you're stream sniping again tonight, get your ass over here. We'll gladly allow you some time with Brian mano y mano since you love him so much. All right, Brian, tonight you've got two topics on the list, and welcome back, by the way.
Thanks.
Two topics on the list, and you've also got some, big alert. And you've also got some promos you've got going on. So feel free, floor is yours. Tell them all, and I'll bring the panel up here shortly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think there's two topics we're going to discuss today. Obviously, we were told that there was going to be a deal with Iran again. And then it turns out that there's no deal. And now Iran is not negotiating at all. They've stopped all negotiations with the United States. So I guess we weren't close to a deal. And I guess the art of the deal is the art of no deal once again. And they have no idea how to end this war. That would be topic number one. And topic number two is I find it hilarious and embarrassing. All the attacks on Tallarico from Stephen Miller calling him a trans person, others calling him a closet homosexual, a vegan. But yet they have nothing else. They have nothing to attack him on other than just personal insults, I guess, because the guy that they're supporting in Texas is a lifelong criminal and cheater, and Ken Paxton, whose own party outed him. So I just think it's pretty pathetic. So I'm sure we can talk a little bit about that. Apparently, higher ups and one of the highest members in the White House thinks using trans in derogatory fashion and attacking Tallarico and calling him trans, I guess that's a good look. I guess a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump think that that's funny. I don't think that's funny. I think it's pathetic. But I guess we're talking about that too. And yeah, excited to announce that Hunter Biden will be coming on my show. We're still trying to get a date, but they confirmed today that Hunter is going to come on with me, which is great. Honor to do that because I think the only other person that's interviewed Hunter in the last year and a half is Candace Owens.
Oh, really?
So Candace interviewed him, and it aired about a month or two ago. So I had exchanged some emails, and I guess this will be his second interview. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, that sounds
Yep.
exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I also do want to say our Darlene Andrew here, regular at Mater Nation, also known as Dragon Fist TV, is going to be coming on to join you Thursday, correct? On your radio show. He's going to come have a little discussion, mano y mano.
Yeah.
I'm excited
that
for
should be-
that.
It can't be
have
more
a-
frustrating.
Oh, sorry.
I
go
was
ahead.
just going to say it can't be more frustrating than the debate I did today. There's a couple people in the chat that are talking about a black MAGA supporter today I had on named Andre Williams, who has no problem using homophobic slurs and using the N-word. And he said January 6th was based. Probably one of the craziest interviews I've done in a while. I did an hour with him today. That was batshit crazy, off the walls. I don't know. I find some really crazy people to debate and to come on my show. I suppose it's entertaining radio, but this person that came on today was very special. That's for sure. It was a crazy show today.
So let me ask you this, because I've heard you talk about people throwing around slurs or kind of like ad hom or things of that nature. Like, I mean, we ourselves do that here at the show when we have our debaters and they call people bitches or whatever. Now, there are some TOS words that we cannot use, for obvious reasons, but I have reason to believe that if we didn't have that boundary for YouTube guidelines and things of that nature, that people probably would use such language. But does it really matter? Like, what is so death defying by it? Why is it such a problem if there's mudslinging across the aisle at each other? Or
There's
so on
nothing
and so
wrong
forth?
with there's nothing wrong with mudslinging. I do it all the time, but it's another level when I think you use slurs, racial slurs, or homophobic slurs. I think there's a line that you shouldn't cross. That's my opinion. If you're calling a moron or a douchebag or a bitch, or I think there are different levels of insults, right? Or as I use the term, Trump mushroom gobbler, right? When you talk down to people because of their religion or because the color of their skin or their sexuality, I think that's a line that I don't like to cross. I wouldn't want to cross, and I think it's inappropriate at any level. I think it's wrong. I think there are different levels of insults, and I think when you're using that kind of language, I think it speaks volumes to who you are. When you just use those type of slurs, I don't know. I wasn't raised like that. I wasn't raised like that to attack people because of their sexuality or the color of their skin. So I think I just think that's a line that you shouldn't cross. I mean, it depends what words we're talking about here, right? But that's my personal opinion. I certainly don't attack someone for their religion. I don't attack somebody for their race. I attack people for the things they say and their behaviors.
Wouldn't somebody's sexuality be that's their behavior? Wouldn't somebody's religion, wouldn't that be part of a behavior?
Religion would be your belief, which is, none of my business. Whatever you believe, you can believe in. Just don't force it on other people. I feel the same way about sexuality. Why do I care? As long as somebody's not breaking the law, why do I care what people do behind closed doors? I mean, I don't. I really don't. It doesn't affect me in a negative way at all. I guess when I mean behaviors, lying, cheating, stealing, breaking the law, those types of behaviors, or policy that is hurting the country. To me, I think that's more prevalent and that's more important than whether somebody's gay or straight.
Well, but I mean, for being gay or straight, I mean, even the gay community, I mean, that's the only reason why we knew people were gay was because they told people that what they like, right? And they like they're publicizing that information. If you believe that what you do behind closed doors is none of my business and I'm not going to make a big stink out of it, then wouldn't you kind of want that same in return? Like, why are you telling me what you like to do behind closed doors and then expecting me not to say something about it?
I mean, I don't. I don't really talk about my sex life with
not
publicly.
you. I mean, in terms of like, particularly the LGBTQ community. I mean, that's a big portion of what
they
stand on is what they do behind closed doors.
I mean, I would say the same thing applies to a straight person, straight or gay. I don't really care what you're doing sexually in your bedroom. That's not my business unless I'm dating you. That's not that's not my business. So I feel the same way, gay or straight.
Mhm.
I don't need to hear what you're doing, with your girlfriend or boyfriend. That's your personal business. So I don't think it matters whether you're gay or straight. I think the same applies.
But let me ask you this. Can you tell whether a person is gay just by meeting them without them saying anything and them just walking towards you? Can you
just Benny Johnson? That's it.
Who's Benny
That was a
Johnson?
joke.
Who do I know
That was a
this?
joke. That was
Why
a
do I
joke.
know him? I gotta look up Benny Johnson.
Yeah, just Michael Knowles. I mean, sometimes I guess, but I don't really.
But not particularly, right? So like I
mean-
wouldn't know you're gay until you tell me, hey, I'm gay, right? And by telling me you're gay, that is you telling me I like to participate in sexual activities with the same sex, right?
I guess so. I mean, not really conversations that I have with people because I don't
how
really
do you
care.
know somebody's gay?
Well, either they admit it or they say it or
Right.
don't
So
know.
if you're going to advertise to me what you like to do behind closed doors, how can you expect me not to want to comment on that, right? And not to be able to utilize that moment to talk about it. If you're going to open that door and
Well, people
invite
can-
the public
people-
into your bedroom, then
people.
and this is just what I'm saying towards like the homophobic slurs or
If
so
somebody
on and so
says
forth.
right, but if somebody says they're gay, I don't think that's inviting somebody into your bedroom. They're just telling people, yeah, I'm gay or I'm straight. Like if somebody says I'm straight, if a man comes up to you and says, hey, by the way, I'm straight, that doesn't mean he's inviting you into his bedroom. He's just telling you what his sexual preference is, which, doesn't really, I don't really care.
Isn't that inviting someone into your bedroom?
I don't think so. If somebody I don't think so. I mean, it's just not really, something that I really care about. And it doesn't really bother me either way. I just want people to be who they are and do what you want. I don't understand. I know it's Gay Pride Month this month.
Mhm. Oh, it is. That's right.
And MAGA Republicans are having a field day with that. And I just think it's disgraceful. Yeah. I think if you're hating on people because of their sexuality, I think you're a bigot. And I don't want people like that in my life. You don't have to be gay. You don't have to live the lifestyle that they're living, but leave them alone. Like just leave people alone, let people live their lives. That's kind of my take on that whole thing. That's how I've always felt about that. I don't really care what your sexuality is unless I'm dating you. I want people to live their lives and be happy and be with who you want to be with. And if people think it's a sin, then guess what? Don't be gay, but stop telling other people what to do. That's kind of my take on that whole thing.
Do you believe that shame is a good thing?
What kind of shame? What do you mean?
Well, I'll put it this way, and then we'll bring up the panel here in just a couple minutes. But for instance, do you remember being in grade school and there was only like 2 fat kids? There was always one boy and one girl that were like the only 2 fat kids in the class.
You mean, do I think mocking children for being overweight is good? No, of course not.
No,
of course I don't think
I'm
that's good.
saying like as we were growing up, right? You didn't want to be the fat kid because the fat kid got shamed. The boy was always funny, and then the girl was always very like low self-esteem because she's the girl, right? The boy can make fun of himself and it's goofy. But you never wanted to be the fat kid because everybody makes fun of the fat kid, right? But shaming works the same way with adults too. Like you don't want to be the hoe, or you don't want to be the town idiot, or you don't want to be the this, because you will get publicly shamed, right? So shaming can bring good things in society, like shaming bad behavior or shaming behavior that is like immoral, right? Why is going to prison a bad thing, right? Because it's shamed. We find it to be immoral and it's not acceptable in society. So when people get out of prison, they face kind of like the community shame of, yeah, I went to prison, right? So in that aspect, like there can be, even if it's name calling to a degree, I'm not saying name calling is always the best thing, but it's still like shame can be good in order to bring society back to its moral foundations.
Yeah, I just don't think a moral foundation has anything to do with what your sexuality is. That's where we probably disagree. I don't care what your sexuality is. I don't think you're a sinner if you're gay or you're straight. I don't see any difference to that. I don't think we should be shaming anybody for their sexuality, just like I don't think we should be shaming anybody for their skin color or religion. For people that have such a problem with Gay Pride Month, I ask them, how does it affect you in a negative way? You know, and usually they can't give me an answer. I mean, I don't know. I think we have far more important things in society and issues to talk about than whether somebody's gay or whether somebody's straight. I think they deserve the same rights as somebody who's straight. I have no problem with Gay Pride Month. And that's, you know, I just think there are far more important things in society right now and far more important issues to talk about than, you know, worried about what someone's sexuality is.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I've dug out enough for the panel to work with. Are you ready to meet your panel, sir?
Sure.
Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we actually moved straight into open panel Q&A. Since Brian's been here before and he does have a limited time, I wanted to make sure that we had time to get every panelist up here and move through everyone's questions. Backstage, I do have K.O. Dave and Duck waiting patiently, but we are going to allow those first early birds that got the worm to get their questions in first, and then we will move into boot mode. So KO Day and Duck backstage, hang tight. All right, Andrew, you look fancy. I like your hair pulled back like that.
Thank you.
Good, good, good. All right, Andrew, first question, first comment, whatever you got, go for it. You and Brian.
Sure. Hey, how's it going, Brian?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, brother? So I want to start with the comment because I have 2 points on it. First, I would say that, you know, I'm not saying you, but the left primarily put this very small group, very small percentage of the population at the forefront of their politics. So you've opened them up to this scrutiny by using them as a political pawn almost. And I kind of feel bad for them. And I'm definitely not the homophobic one. I didn't even know it was Pride Month. I didn't even know, so I'm definitely not hating on it. I'm just saying that when you make them a political pawn, you can't then say that people can't comment on it. And what Trump is doing—
I don't know what you mean.
So
I
you
don't know what you mean by
actually
political
based on
pawn.
it. We know when you're signaling
and I
to
also
the
wouldn't
left.
say, what do you mean by small percentage? Do you know what
There are like
percentage
1 or
of
2% of the population trans people. Yeah, let me
let Andrew finish his thought, and then we'll go back to response.
So what I'm saying is you you gave a lot of power to this 1 or 2% of the population. They have a very loud voice.
No, it's not. It's not 1 or 2%. What are you
Trans community
talking
I'm
about?
talking about. Talking about the
Oh,
trans
okay. Well, I had no idea what you were talking about. I thought and by the way, it's about 3%, but I thought we were talking about homosexuality. Were we talking about trans? I didn't know that.
Well, that's what the comment was about, right? The trans comment.
No, it's about the attacks on James Tellerico, who's not trans. The prompt was about the right attacking Tellerico, the Stephen Millers of the world, calling him trans, which is juvenile, despicable, and disgusting, and pathetic. And what a horrible message. That was the prompt, because it was. Does that make sense? It was involving.
Yeah, sure.
Tellerico,
I'm just explaining to you why Trump was saying, oh, that they have 6 genders and this is the trans. He's pointing out their politics by saying that. And you may not like the way that it sounds, but I would also ask, like, why is it a bad thing? Like, if you hurled an insult at me that I didn't think was a bad thing, like you don't think being gay is bad, right? You don't think being trans is bad. So like, I would just laugh if someone did that to me. If you hurled an insult at me that I didn't think was insulting, I wouldn't like fake being offended.
Well, there you
If
go.
you don't
You-
think
you
it's
just-
a bad thing, why are you offended?
Well,
is my
you
question.
you just answered your own question. Everybody reacts to insults differently. For example, because of my religion, one of Myron Gaines' friends backstage at a debate called me a very horrible word, probably the worst word you can call somebody Jewish. Now, that probably wouldn't have insulted you, Andrew, because I would assume you're not Jewish, but it did insult me. Everybody is different. There are some people where if you use the N-word, it's not offensive to them. But I can tell you right now, there are a lot of African Americans out there, and rightfully so, that if a white person insulted them and then called them the N-word, they would be very upset, and they would have a right to be very upset. The point I'm trying to make is everybody reacts to different words and different insults differently. And I think we should be respectful of that. When it comes to Tallarico, the reason why I brought that up in the prompt is because people aren't attacking Tallarico for any sort of substance. They're attacking him and calling him trans, which is beyond stupid.
How is that an attack? That's my question. Like, if you don't think that's a bad thing, how is that an attack? In your position, you're the one.
So you think Stephen Miller was calling him trans, and you think it was a positive thing? Is that your take? Because that's the weirdest take I've ever heard in my life.
If you hurl an insult at me, and the thing you're insulting me about isn't something I think is bad, then I'm not offended. So I'm asking, why are you offended? If you don't think being trans is bad,
I'm not offended.
why are you offended?
First of all, I'm not even offended by it. I'm repulsed by Stephen Miller, and he thinks that it's funny. And you think, and you seem to be defending the fact that one of the biggest faces in the Republican Party, and you don't see anything wrong with one of the biggest names and one of the most powerful people on the right attacking a candidate who's never been in trouble with the law before. Okay. He's lived a pretty good life. He seems like a pretty nice guy, even if you disagree with his politics. And you're okay with one of the biggest names in the White House right now using a juvenile insult and calling him a trans candidate.
But how is that an insult? That's my point. Like, you guys politicized them. Your side did that. You guys politicized this movement. So how is that an insult? We're just describing what's going on.
Okay, so let's talk to me right now, because I don't represent a party. How have I politicized this? Explain that to me.
Because your side makes policies and
not on a side.
And
I don't
okay,
make
the
policy.
left, because you're talking about
me
Trump.
right
So I'm
now.
talking about the left,
Well, I
the
guess
other side.
hold on. If I can maybe find some grounding here, if because it was a Democrat, right? Tallarico is a Democrat, right?
Sure.
And that's who the insult went to, and then that's the party that is upset by this insult, correct?
Right.
So I think that's, in terms for Andrew, that's what he's referring to, is those who are upset about it are the ones who complain.
I wouldn't say the party is up in arms upset over it. I would say it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed that anybody would defend this. I'm embarrassed that one of the biggest names in the White House right now in the Trump administration would use those sort of terms that a 10-year-old would use, and that you're totally okay with it. You think it's just fine. Oh, I'm not offended.
You guys politicize them, so then people can comment on it. You make policies and you garner. I'm talking about the left. We were talking about
policy.
that.
What policy are you?
There's all sorts of policies that affect people.
Tell me.
Women in trans women in men's sports. There's all sorts of policies that affect people that people care about. Bathroom situations. So I'm saying is, let me finish. When you make policies about it, people are allowed to comment. Like, just saying the word trans from the other side is not an insult.
First of all, he didn't just say the word trans. He was using it as an insult, saying that Tallarico is the first trans candidate. Stephen Miller knows very well. I can't believe Andrew.
You should be happy about that. He thinks trans people are great.
Let Brian explain.
I can't, Andrew, I can't believe I even have to explain this to you, but I'm going to try. Okay. Stephen Miller is a horrible human being, but he's not stupid. He knows that James Tallarico is not trans. Okay. He knows that. The reason why he called him trans was to mock him. The only point that I'm trying to make is that it should be beneath anybody in office, let alone one of the most powerful people on the right. It is a juvenile insult. It would be the same as saying Tallarico is the first gay candidate, knowing that he's not gay and mocking him and using that term. It's beneath the office that Stephen Miller is in. It's a juvenile insult. It's stupid. I'm not offended by it. I'm embarrassed that we have leaders or so-called leaders like that in this country, in the White House, that use those sorts of terms. It's stupid. And then when somebody calls him an ugly fucker, which I think somebody who runs the Democrat Twitter account, everybody on the right was so, oh God, oh, it's so beneath the Democrats. How could they call Stephen Miller an ugly fucker? The things he says are very ugly. I will say that. And Stephen Miller's wife said, that's horrible rhetoric. Well, maybe if your stupid husband didn't call people domestic terrorists after they're shot and killed in the streets of Minneapolis, and maybe if your husband didn't use some of the same rhetoric that Adolf Hitler used back in the day, and maybe if your husband wasn't mocking people and saying, oh, you're a trans candidate, then maybe she wouldn't have had a response of, you're an ugly fucker. Again, the point I'm trying to make is it's beneath people that are elected officials. I think it's beneath anybody, especially someone who's an elected official, to make a statement like that. And you know what it tells me, Andrew? It tells me that they don't have any substance to go after Tellerico. They don't have anything real to go after Tellerico. So what are they doing? They're calling him a vegan. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being a vegan. So even if he was a vegan, should we not support this guy because he's a vegan? Or should we support the guy who's been a 20-year criminal and a lifelong cheater, whose own party outed him? Ken Paxton is a piece of shit. He's a criminal.
Last question.
He's a thief.
Last question on this. So you said this doesn't have any substance. Do you remember what the most effective political ad against Kamala Harris was?
I mean, what do you mean by effective? I don't know.
The one that they garnered as the most effective when used. It was the one where he said, Kamala is for they, them, I'm for you. It was that one. So what I'm saying is we're pointing to this is a substance. This is a substance issue for a certain group. And we didn't make it that way. You made it that way. Your side.
Okay, so I didn't make it anyway. I don't know what you're talking
about.
Your
side made Tallarico made it that way, not us. We're just commenting on it.
First of all,
let Brian respond.
Let me just, people who voted for a candidate because of that ad are morons. That's number one. So that's number one. If you voted for somebody because, well, according to who? According to a bunch of bigots, who is it effective? So that means nothing to me, number one. And number two, I cannot believe that we're sitting here right now, even though we might have a different ideology, and you think it's okay, because it sounds like you're defending it, one of the biggest names on the right in the White House saying, oh, look, first trans candidate. It's so juvenile. It's so stupid. And that's why you guys are going to get destroyed in the midterms, because these are the assholes that you're defending.
But only you think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's insulting. Only you think being called gay and trans is insulting. So you have a negative connotation to those words. I don't. If you're going to bring that up as your policies, people can point out.
So let me get this right. So let me get this straight. If Donald Trump or any members of administration insult somebody and call them gay, you don't think that's inappropriate, and you're totally okay with that?
Why is it an insult?
Okay with that language? I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. So if somebody in a negative connotation said, oh, he's gay, what a gay candidate, Donald Trump, it could be Pete Hegseth, whoever. I want you on the record, Andrew. You're totally fine with that language for some of the most powerful people in Donald Trump and his administration. You're totally okay with that. Oh, you're gay, or use a homophobic slur, or say you're trans in a negative way. You're totally.
But why is it negative? That's what I'm trying to understand. Like if it was directed at me, it's only your internal feelings that make you think it's negative.
You're lost because it's
just how you interpret it.
You're lost. No, it's how most adults. It's how most adults interpret.
If you insult me by calling me a dirty Republican, which you actually think is an insult, I don't think it's an insult, so I don't give a shit.
There's a difference between calling somebody a dirty Republican. Okay, I can't believe I have to explain this to you.
Because one's about sexuality.
When you attack somebody and you say you're gay or you're trans, what you're basically doing is putting a negative effect on that word to people that are gay and trans. As I said again, Stephen Miller knows that James Tellerico is not trans. He's calling him trans to use it as an insult, with anybody that's logical would understand that. That's why it is inappropriate and immature. And I would expect maybe a bunch of 9-year-olds to be talking like that, not somebody who is in Donald Trump's cabinet. It's immature and it's wrong. If you want to go after Tellerico, then talk about policy. Talk about
that's what I'm doing. I'm saying he's the one that brought these policies. Yes, his policies have to do with trans people. He brought policies that have to do with that. And then you're saying we can't mention it. That's my point. I would say that it's wrong to do that. And I would use logic to go back to the beginning and realize who actually put these people at the forefront of their movement
What
and put them
policies
in the spotlight to get this scrutiny? Who did that? Not the
What
Republicans.
policies?
We didn't do
What
that.
policies are you talking
You
about?
tried to
What
get,
Tallarico-
or
Let's,
Tallarico tries to get emotional votes, and it's his fault for putting the spotlight on
What
them. Not our
Tallarico
fault.
policy are you referring to? What
Let's go ahead
Tallarico
and-
policy?
We'll come
Oh,
back.
do you have a policy, Andrew? And then we'll move on.
About
I
Tallarico
don't. I'm just
specifically.
assuming that they're the normal leftist policies.
whole argument.
If Trump mentioned 6 genders, I'm telling you why a Republican would be upset and why signaling that this is the policies of that person.
All right, hold on,
That's what
hold
Trump
on.
was
This is
doing.
my-
Why that's
The
effective.
two of you.
Why that's
my
effective.
Get a room.
Because
Okay,
he was
hold on,
telling me
hold
if I
on.
trust the president,
on,
what this
hold
person's
on.
policies
Last
are.
60
I
seconds,
don't
and we'll
know
move on to
specifically.
Cassandra.
All right.
Go
we'll
ahead,
move
Brian.
on.
Those are his policies, clearly.
Hold on. You were just defending Stephen Miller, calling
No, just
James
Trump.
Tallarico-
I don't know what Stephen
Hold on.
Miller said.
That's the whole argument. What the fuck are you talking about?
I
All
thought
right,
this was
all
a Trump quote.
Oh my God. All right, let me start over here. Andrew's struggling to understand.
No, I only
Um,
saw the Trump quote. That's all I saw.
Okay. All right, so let me just help you out. It was
Not
Stephen
struggling.
Miller that made the statement that Tallarico was trans. You claimed that
So did
Tallarico
Trump. I
has all
saw
the-
it.
Tallarico has all these trans policies. I asked you to name one policy that Tallarico helped pass that's pro-trans. You couldn't even name one. So what
That's
the
not
fuck
what I
are we
said.
talking about?
That's
And
a
by the
straw
way,
man.
the reason why
What I said was
the reason-
Trump is signaling that this person has trans-friendly policies by saying that, and that's what Stephen Miller is doing as well. Yes, he's
And name me
casting
one.
shade on his
And
political
name me one.
opponents and
Name
letting
me one.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is he's signaling that that's what these policies are. Whether or not that's correct is not my claim. I'm telling you what he's doing. You think that he's
Okay.
insulting them.
Okay.
He's signaling to his base what this person's policies are. So if you take your feelings out of it, you would understand that. And then we can
if you can-
research and look up what the
if you
policies
could-
are. That's what voters are
Let's
supposed
go
to do.
ahead
you
and
could-
move on to Cassandra, and we'll get some new conversation in. And don't worry, Andrew and Brian, you'll have your chance to dance again later. Cassandra, welcome over to Mater Nation. It was such a pleasure to talk to you earlier over on Spin's show. I'm happy you were finally able to make your way onto this panel. Do you have a question or comment to Brian? I think you're muted on your end, not the StreamYard. Do you have a button on your mic? No. That's all right.
He may
You-
have to go into the settings. He had to do it on mine, sir.
Yeah, try to toggle
No?
your. Oh, there you are! Yay!
Am I here? Am I here?
Yes.
Good evening.
absolutely.
Good evening, Sarah. Thank you for having me, and good evening, Brian.
Hey,
So, hi, Brian. Are you sure you don't have internalized transphobia?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, from what I've gleaned so far, you appear, in my perception, to see when somebody uses the word trans against someone, you seem to have the ability to adopt the inner workings of that individual's intent. to
So what do you think
place
Stephen
a-
Miller's intent was?
I don't know. I'm not Stephen Miller.
You don't know. So when Stephen Miller says Texas has their first trans candidate in Tallarico, you can't come
Yes.
up with a logical reason what that means or why he did that? You think he
Well,
really
I can
means
tell
that
you-
Tallarico's trans? Is that what you think?
I can tell
And
you
somehow
this.
That
I can tell
somehow that makes me
you want to
homophobic?
railroad me. You don't want me to talk. I'm going to give you
No,
my
it just-
response. You see, it's like this, Brian. If I hear someone call someone else trans, I don't immediately make a context assumption. Because without the context, I'm not going to understand the intent.
There's no context. So there's no context other than he put out a tweet. Okay. They look
Okay,
at
a tweet.
Tallarico as they look at Tallarico as a threat to Republicans. He's running against Ken Paxton. Tallarico is pretty popular within the Democrats. So Stephen Miller put out a tweet saying with a picture of Tallarico saying Texas has their first trans candidate. So that's all the context we have. So please give me a logical explanation by your own standards. I gave you mine. I see it as an insult towards trans people and an insult towards Tallarico. They also call him low T. They say he's a closet homosexual. So please give me your context on why. please give me. He has a girlfriend. I don't know why that's even relevant, but he does have a girlfrind.
My
Please give
husband
me
had
your
a wife.
Okay, so whatever. Who cares? Give me your context as to why you think Stephen Miller said that. Why you would disagree with me? And I just give me your context. Give me another logical explanation other than he was mocking Tellerico. Give me another.
Well, that sounds like
example.
your argument is that he was mocking Tallarico. I never said that.
Okay, so give me your explanation then. What do you think he was doing?
Well, he was probably celebrating trans inclusion by making the very first trans politician possible.
All right, you're not a serious person. I'm sorry, my
Am
friend.
I not
You're
a serious person?
No,
Are
you're
you
not.
a serious person?
For you to yes,
You
I
have
am actually.
internalized. You have internalized transphobia.
Okay, I think you
can
have
see it.
internalized. I think you have internalized low IQ. Okay, this
Oh,
person
do
who
I?
this person who I'm speaking with thinks that the reason why I understand there's people on this panel that disagree with me politically, and that's great. That's fine. I wonder if there's anybody on this panel that would agree that Stephen Miller saying James Tellerico is the first trans candidate in Texas is some sort of pro-trans tweet. Is there anybody on this panel
Brian,
that
what's
hold on,
my
I just wanna-
gender?
is there
What's my
I
gender?
don't know and I don't care. I don't care.
Oh,
is there
but you
anybody
should.
Is there anybody hold on a second. Is there anybody
Okay.
on this panel, including you, Sarah, that thinks that the reason why Stephen Miller said the first trans candidate is James Tellerico is to be pro-trans? Is there anybody here? You can disagree or agree with the tweet, whatever. But is there anybody that agrees with this person, that Cassandra, that was a pro-trans tweet? Go
Did
ahead.
I say it was
everybody.
pro-trans?
Regardless whether
I never said
regardless, he asked the panel, right? Sarah,
Yeah, go
are you
ahead,
good?
Spin. Go ahead, Spin.
Okay.
You respond to it.
Regardless whether what the context of his tweet was, regardless was it pro-trans or against trans, he was pointing out the fact that he's trans and he's running for political office. You sir, are
James Tellerico is-
radicalizing what
James
he
Tellerico is
said
not trans. What are you
and
talking about?
propagandizing it.
Are we
That's what
surrounded
you're
by
doing.
children? Like it's obvious
yeah.
that he was trying to say that Tellerico is some kind of girly man or he's less manly or
Exactly.
anything like
Thank
that.
you.
It's
So
obvious
what?
that his
Does
intent
that-
was stop
okay.
trolling, you fucking idiots.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
know
What's
he's
wrong
a
with you?
troll.
What's
Thank you.
wrong
That
with
was
being
my-
a
So is
girly man?
Brian. He's a troll.
Absolutely nothing. But when people use words like that as a pejorative, when it's not an actual pejorative, it's advertising their hate. It's dog whistling.
Exactly.
It's not
Thank
to
you.
actually insult the person. It's to say to all the other people that hate this thing, hey, look at me hating in public. You can come hate in public too. So therefore, we should go dog pile
Was
and
there
hate in public.
anything in that tweet, Effigy, that was making fun of him?
You
The
gotta be
answer is
kidding me.
no.
Right-wing
Shut up,
perspective,
Avatar.
yes. Yes.
Shut up, Avatar.
You got to be kidding me. I can't believe you're even asking that.
From a
I
right-wing
looked at
perspective
the
of people
fucking
who
tweet,
hate trans
Shapiro.
people and try to
There
make
was
their lives
nothing in
miserable,
there that
calling
was
someone trans is
transphobic or
advertising that you should
anything.
attack people.
All
So
he
is-
said
No, he's telling
was
what their
he's
policies
trans.
are.
So what? Shut up,
So
bro.
angry
So
American.
can I
is,
ask?
is
So
James,
is
James
he
Tellerico
trans?
No, he's not. So that's the and by the way,
How do you know that?
How do you
How
know
do you
that?
know that?
all right, you're not a serious person.
I am a serious person.
Well, hold on.
that?
No,
You're
I
not.
do want to know. So he's not trans.
He's absolutely not trans.
He's absolutely
And he
not.
has a-
He's never.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
just
even
such a
anywhere
stupid-
near what this guy is.
Well, then how
And
is
I'm
it an
trans.
insult? Well, hold on. Like, how is it an insult then if he's not trans, and and he called him
as the last
transgender?
person, as the last person just said, just like everybody else on the right, they're calling him a girly man. They're calling him low T. They're saying that he's gay, and calling him trans is just another layer there. Anybody, I think that's
Brian, do you see trans as
weak?
Hold on.
No, I don't.
I guess
No, I don't.
my point
I
is,
don't.
like, if you called me
Is everyone playing dumb here tonight?
hold on hold on a second. If you called me I don't know. You called me something and I'm not that something. Why would I be so insulted?
A black
if you
girl.
called me,
Yeah, so-
if you called me
so
like
it's the
ratchet or
same-
something, right?
It's the same as if somebody calls somebody
Hey,
a
Shapiro,
homophobic slur.
when the host is
Hold on a
talking,
second.
the rules in here
Spin,
are you
stop,
shut up.
Stop. Spin,
Hey,
what the fuck?
Angry American, go fuck yourself. You don't tell me what to do. I'll leave right now if you're going to stay in here. Why don't you
I
get
didn't
the
hear.
fuck out of here?
I didn't hear what you said, Brian.
Yeah, this guy, Angry American, he's trying to boss me around. Go fuck yourself, Angry American. Okay, I don't even know who you are. Okay, go fuck yourself. As far as what you were saying, Sarah, earlier, if you call somebody a homophobic slur, like a word that starts with the letter F, the three-letter word, right? A homophobic slur. There are people that are gay that would, I think, find that a little bit insulting. But here's the bigger picture that I'm trying to explain, is that when you're in office and you're an elected official and you're in a powerful position, and you use those types of terms to insult people, which is obviously what Stephen Miller was doing. If there's anybody in this panel that thinks that Stephen Miller was calling Tellerico trans because he wanted to be pro-trans or he wasn't insulting him, then I'm sorry, I can't help you guys, okay? That's beneath, it's beneath it.
I don't know if whether it's an insult or not would be the question, but I mean, my God, it's the internet. We get called names all the time. And unless you're actually doing defamation or slander of some sort, right? I think that's like with the F slur. I remember we used that in middle school. It was the word of the day, right? It wasn't until later. Well, hold on. It wasn't until later until we suddenly were told, oh, it's not nice to say those things to people. But we called each other that word all the time, and it didn't mean anything.
But Sarah, here's the difference. We're not talking about any of us on this panel. I wouldn't do that, but we're not talking about any of us on this panel. We're not talking about somebody on social media.
Sure?
We're talking about one of the biggest names on the right in the White House. There is a standard. We're not talking about 10-year-old grade schoolers here. This is standard. This is Stephen Miller, who apparently doesn't have any standards. And I guess there's some people on this panel that are totally okay with people in the White House using homophobic slurs or attacking somebody maybe for being trans or being gay. I think it's wrong. I think it's inappropriate. And the fact that there are people here that don't think that that's a negative thing to attack James Tellerico and low T, gay, or in this case, first trans candidate. It's immature, it's stupid. And these are elected officials and very powerful people that shouldn't be talking like that. It's because they don't have any substance. That's why. They're not talking about Tellerico's policy. And guess who the guy is that they're defending? A lifelong criminal, a lifelong cheater. The Republican Party outed Ken Paxton. He's a thief. But they want to support that guy, but attack James Tellerico and call him low T or trans. I just think it's absurd.
But where's the slur? None of those are slurs.
Hold on.
Where's the homophobic slur?
I want to hand it back to Cassandra to finish up. Did you have any other final question or thought to that?
Brian, are you a straight white male?
Why is that relevant to this conversation?
Because you're acting like a straight white male. You're acting like a straight white male
who
doesn't have an insight.
Well, I think you're acting like an idiot. Okay, so
am I acting like an idiot? Are you calling a trans person an idiot? Are you calling a trans person low IQ? Oh, now you don't care, but you cared a lot before, didn't you? Yes, you can talk too. Yes, go.
When in this conversation, when did I care whether you were trans or not? When did I?
Oh, gee, it's been your whole premise of your conversation so far is worrying about what trans people think. Oh, but it has. Oh, I am listening.
You're not listening. Okay, so listen to this, okay?
Yes.
If I call you an idiot or I think you're very low IQ, it has nothing to do with your sexuality and it has nothing to do whether you're trans or not. I could care less.
No, it has everything to do with your. It has everything to do with your flawed perception.
Okay, you're not a serious. You just said that you think Stephen Miller claimed that James Tellerico is trans as some sort of pro-trans messaging. So you are not a serious person.
Is that literally what I said? Is that literally what I said?
Everybody on
you
the panel
know that we could replay this, and that's not literally what I said.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to comment on this? Because
Where's the homophobic slur? You said there was slurs.
Yes. Where's that?
There are people. I didn't say Stephen Miller used a homophobic slur, but I did say that there are people on. Yeah, I didn't say that Stephen Miller used a homophobic slur. What I did say is that Stephen Miller called him trans as some sort of insult, which I think is beneath that. And I can't believe that.
And that's your internalized transphobia.
Okay, that's what it is. I'm very intelligent.
Just accept it. You're transphobic. It's okay.
All right.
It's okay. It's okay.
Go ahead. Let's move on to Spin. Spin, what is your question or comment?
Why, Brian, why do you keep letting cultural propaganda or words control how you feel?
It's probably the dumbest question that's somebody's asked me, at least today. I'm not. Here's what I am doing, and you're not listening. What I'm saying is when you insult somebody and use 8th grade humor or whatever you want to call it, whether it is a slur or whether in this case, Stephen Miller calling Tellerico trans, which by the way, he's not, or whether you call him low T, there's a lot of right wingers on social media that are elected officials that are calling him low T. They're saying he's a closet homosexual. When you're an elected official or whether you're in a very powerful position, which Stephen Miller is in, it is beneath that office to use that language and to insult people like that. I think it's stupid and it's wrong. And if they actually had anything of substance to attack James Tellerico on, like policy-wise, but they don't. That's what they're going on. And I would say the same on the left or the right. If you're an elected official or you're in a very powerful position and you're attacking people based on thinking that they're girly men or that they're low T or that they're trans, it's stupid. It's stupid. Our elected officials should be more mature than that. I think it's wrong. That's the whole point that I was trying to make.
Okay. So if I were to call you a cracker or some sort of racial slur on the internet, or I tweeted this, are you really a cracker?
Are you an elected official in a powerful position?
I don't care. I don't care about that. I'm asking you as a person in this human life, would you care if somebody called you a cracker?
I think it's stupid.
You think it's stupid?
For the cracker.
Yeah. But we're not talking about, but this is important.
This all correlates to somebody calling somebody a trans. If that person that may or may not be trans, if it's true or not, why would they care?
Let me ask you a question.
It's just like me going to call you probably more than once tonight a retard. Do you care if I call you a retard?
I don't even want to even converse with you if you're going to talk.
You don't want to converse with me, but you asked for a panel.
No.
You all you do is insult. No. All you've done up here tonight is insult.
Yeah, I've called people idiots, sure.
Yeah, of course. So do you think you calling me an idiot is going to bother me?
So, angry American, let me explain again my position. I don't know who you are. I would assume you're not an elected official.
But you will.
You're not. Okay. How about just let me finish my sentence? Can we start there?
I'm
not
just
an elected.
doing what you do.
Okay. Are you going to shut up now? Let me know when I can talk.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's hear.
I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to talk to you. You're here to talk to me. Okay. So just let me respond.
Okay.
You are not an elected official. You're not one of the highest people in office on the right, which Stephen Miller is. Should be a higher standard for people that are elected officials that are some of the most prominent names in the White House. We're not talking about just regular everyday people. I think there should be a higher standard. Do I think it's appropriate for people to call people crackers or, using those terms? We're talking about people that have a higher job, prominent, like Stephen Miller is in the White House. Are you not getting we're not talking about just you and me here. That'd be one thing. We're talking about Stephen Miller, elected the president of the United States. These are people that should be held to a higher standard than people like you and me. Do you disagree with that?
I don't disagree with that, but would you say that we should hire the feelings police because this person said this person said that, and we should persecute them?
Where did I say that Stephen Miller should be persecuted for calling somebody trans? When did I say that?
I didn't say you did. But
Okay,
what
so
you're
why you-
advocating for is somebody should be held accountable for saying somebody's trans or whatever. That's what I'm
When did I
hearing
say that?
the argument
When did-
is.
Well, get the MAGA wax out of your ears and let me try to explain myself once again. Okay. Okay. Angry American, let me try to explain myself once again. Okay. I personally believe it's beneath the office that nobody in the White House or prominent people like Stephen Miller, who are in very prominent political positions, should be using that terminology. I think it's stupid. I think it's wrong. I think it's immature. I think it's beneath the presidency and anybody else who holds a higher power in the White House. And the only reason why Stephen Miller and many people on the right are doing that is because they have no substance. If they did, they would be attacking Tellerico on his record. They'd be talking about his policies. They're not doing that. And the guy that they are defending is Ken Paxton, a lifelong criminal, a scumbag, a cheater, and a guy whose own party outed him. But they have nothing to go on when it comes to Ken Paxton. So they call him trans or gay, or they say he's low T. It's pathetic. I'm not saying that anybody should be prosecuted for it. I'm not saying anybody should be held accountable for it, because nobody is held accountable in the Trump administration. We know that now. All I'm simply saying is I think it's childish, I think it's stupid, and I think it's wrong. I'm not saying it's against the law. I've never said that.
Okay. So my last question, Sarah, and then I'll yield. Do you think that Stephen Miller does not have a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants to anybody he wants?
Again,
are you trying to say that he doesn't have a First Amendment right?
As I just said, again, I already answered that.
Just because it's an idiocracy doesn't mean he doesn't have the right to say whatever he wants.
What have I said in this conversation? I literally just said 60 seconds ago that I'm not saying he should be prosecuted for it, and I never said he doesn't have the right to say it. I never said that. I don't know where you're getting that from.
So you are basing your opinion off your personal opinion and alluding that you know what he was saying and why he said it. That's
so
what
you tell
doing.
me that.
I yield the floor. I'm done arguing right now.
I would love a logical explanation as to why you think Stephen Miller said that, other than to mock this man. I would love another explanation. The only other explanation I heard was, oh, well, he was being pro-trans, which obviously no reasonable person would believe.
Who said that?
Okay, there's one person on this panel, and I don't need to converse with this
clarifying
person,
if that was me.
But
you will though.
But there's no reasonable human being that thinks Stephen Miller is pro-trans, or Stephen Miller called Tellerico trans because it's a pro-trans message. Obviously, there's no reasonable person that would believe that. The reason why Tellerico said it was because it was a cheap shot insult, or an attempt at a cheap shot insult at Tellerico. That's why he did it. And all I'm simply saying again is I think it's wrong. I think it's stupid. I think it's beneath anybody who holds office to talk like that. I think it's wrong.
Okay, so Sarah, I take that back. So your interview with Pam Hemphill, do you know how stupid that was? And I yield the floor. We'll put a pin in that one.
That's a wonderful comment there.
We're going to talk about that.
Calling something stupid.
I have stuff that you don't know about Pamela Hemphill. But anyway, Sarah,
I don't really care. Don't really care what stuff he claims he has on Pam Hemphill. The only reason why I had her on was to bring
her
up
sob story, because she's not irrelevant. She's irrelevant now.
Okay. Well, I would say she's probably a little bit more relevant than you. I'm
sorry,
not going to be inviting you on any shows anytime soon. So Pam's done CNN. She's done Fox News. Pam has done all the national network shows. I would say she also got a letter from our former Vice President, Mike Pence. Let me know, angry American, when you get a letter from the Vice President. I think she's a little bit more relevant than you are. Okay. Next.
All right, Alex. So welcome back, my love. We missed you so much. I hope all has been well in your nice little hiatus from YouTube. All right, question or comment to Brian?
It's primarily a comment. Hey, Brian, I've called into your show a couple times, actually. I don't know if you recognize
What's up, man?
Yep.
What's up, man?
So basically, it's more of like a comment, essentially. Now,
sure.
Just to kind of explain to the rest of the panel a little bit more clear context, because we need to understand something. When people like Jasmine Crockett speak out, what's the one thing that the right tends to do? They call her ghetto because she's loud and obnoxious. That's kind of the point of the whole matter. They're trying to emasculate James Tellerico. And it's not because Brian and I think that trans people are bad. It's because the right thinks that trans people are bad. And for the record, we're not the ones talking about trans people. We're not the ones focused on them coming into women's locker rooms. It's the Republicans focusing upon that, while they say nothing about their president, who did the exact same fucking thing. They don't give a shit about that because they have no context, essentially. When it comes down to it, when we talk about substance and policies and things like that, what is it they talk about? They talk about three primary categories. They talk about the trans community, they talk about the migrant community. Now they're talking about the Muslim community again. They're picking on candidates like Abdul El Sayed out of Michigan. They're not attacking his policies, they're attacking his religion, they're attacking his skin color, and he knows these things. Same thing with Zoran Mamdani. It's because the Republican right has no substance. They don't give a shit about policy. They are all about the bully schoolyard tactics, and we could do so much better. Because Ronald Reagan, when he made like jabs, it was funny and it was like slight jabs and stuff like that. That was more entertaining than the bullshit we're seeing right now. That's our point right there. And I know a lot of people are still going to do like whataboutisms or say something like, oh, well, you know, you guys just have soft skin. We don't have soft skin. Every single time we talk about policies like, hey, healthcare is a human right, or there's rural hospitals closing down all across the countries, you're going to start asking me questions. And Sarah, you remember when I did my Throw on Thursday? I talked about trans issues once. What did everybody want to talk about when they came on the panel? They wanted to talk about trans issues. I talked about environmental racism. I talked about healthcare. I talked about rural issues. I talked about all different kinds of issues, but they wanted to talk about trans issues. I think it's because they're secretly chasers or guys that are a little hiding in the closet and they're just waiting to bust right out. I don't know. None of my business. Hey, I listen, I don't judge kind of deal. But the fact of the matter is, Brian, you and I, we understand what's going on here. But they don't understand. Either they don't understand or they don't want to understand, or they're just trying to, get a rise out of you. So what do you think, Brian?
Yeah. Well, I agree with what you just said, Alex, wholeheartedly. The problem I have with the far right today is they only see themselves through their own lens and not other people. And that's what I try to tell other people is that, I don't know what it's like to be trans. I don't know what it's like to be gay, but I listen to other people. I try to listen to other people and I try to figure out how they have been victims, how they have been talked down to because of their sexuality or because they might be trans. And I try to listen to people. And I think I don't speak for the gay community, but when somebody says Gay Pride Month, I think, okay, be prideful for who you are. There's nothing wrong with being gay. There's nothing wrong with being trans. You should be able to be prideful for who you are. It doesn't mean that you should tell other people that they should be gay or they should be trans. No, of course I would be against that, but most people are not doing that. Be prideful for who you are, be happy for who you are, and you shouldn't be talked down to because of your sexuality or because you're trans. And I think, Alex, we both agree, we all understand what Stephen Miller was doing, even people on the right. Come on. Stephen Miller knows that James Tallarico is a straight white male with a girlfriend, but he was using that trans comment as an insult. And it'd be one thing, and I still wouldn't agree with it, but it'd be one thing if somebody on this panel talked like that. Okay, fine. I don't agree with it. But it's another thing when somebody that high up in the White House is using that sort of attack, which is the way most people see it. It's stupid. It's stupid. I think it's immature. It's wrong. And they don't have anything of substance to go after James Tallarico on. So they call him low T. They call him trans. They say he's in the closet gay. He's a girly man. He's a vegan. It's all just stupid nonsense because they can't go after his policies. And the fact that he's a nice guy, he's a normal guy, he's a nice guy, he's a smart guy. And they're going to be in the corner of Ken Paxton. Are you fucking kidding me? Does anybody in this panel know the history of Ken Paxton? What he's done, the criminality? Of course they don't.
They don't care.
Yeah. The guy who's cheated on his wife, God knows how many times, and she just recently divorced him because of that. A guy who preaches the Bible, a guy who has literally stolen money. He's a thief. Oh, yeah, by the way, the guy who got out, a guy who went in jail for 30 days, who openly admitted to sexually abusing a child. And what did Ken Paxton do? Got him out of jail, his get out of jail free card. James Tallarico hasn't done any of that stuff, but Ken Paxton has. So if you really want to talk about substance, let's talk about substance. The policies of Ken Paxton, the life of Ken Paxton, between the policies and the life of James Tallarico. I'll happily do that with anybody.
Sounds good. All right. I'm good, Sarah. Thank you so much for being so gracious.
Thanks, Alex.
I'm
Thanks for
muted
calling into
again.
the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. I love you so much. For the win. Welcome back, my friend. Go for it.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, Brian, for coming back here for round two, right? I wanted to first ask you a question from round one.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
You said that you were going to address the ear comment on the radio the next day. How did that end up turning out for you? What ended up was said?
I'm sorry. Help me under. I don't remember. So you're going to have to refresh my memory.
It was the ear effing comment, and it was just quite the joke the rest of the night from round one and everything. And then you were saying that you were going to bring it back up on your radio show and everything. I was just curious as to what your listeners thought about it, if you mentioned it at all.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Maybe I'm getting like Joe Biden. I have Alzheimer's. I don't know. I don't remember what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
I really don't.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm sorry. I'm being honest. I really don't.
No, okay. That's fine. As far as like the conversation that we're having with it, when I've heard James Tallarico, and even before this comment, my personal perception of it, he does sound like a low T individual. He sounds effeminate. He sounds like that. That's my perception. So when it comes into election season and the mudslinging happens and all these attack ads come on, in the last election cycle, I can think of countless commercials that were played that were even harsher than this comment right here. And I do agree that what you're saying here, that when you're in a position of power, that office means something. And that's where you're coming from. That's where your problem really is with this. So my question is when you call us Trump mushroom gobblers, or the slinging that was done against JD Vance, calling him a couch fucker and all this kind of stuff. Isn't that a two-way street? Or is it just like a free-for-all SNL episode that we can just be able to rip the administration, whoever's in office, Republican or Democrat?
Sure, I'll answer that. So first of all, different standards a little bit, maybe for different people. I'm a podcaster. I'm not an elected official. I'm not in public office.
I heard
if you
that.
Don't like what Okay, so if you don't like what I have to say, then my recommendation is don't watch my YouTube page, don't listen to my show, and turn the page. We're talking about the president of the United States. And let me tell you something else, my friend. You know who I think is low T? The guy who wakes up in the morning, I would imagine somebody who you voted for, the guy who puts on 8 layers of orange makeup, wearing a girdle, looking like the clown that he is every day, with his 4 hair transplants, his fake teeth, and his fake tan. That's a guy who I think is low T, the guy who dodged the military 5 times, not a guy like James Tallarico. So if you think James Tallarico is low T, or you don't think he's a man's man, okay, fine. You have the right to believe that. And if you would rather vote for a guy like Ken Paxton, who's a lifelong criminal, okay, the guy who is a pedo protector, then go ahead and vote for Ken Paxton. But I think the guy who puts on—
Well, I won't be able to. That's for the voters of Texas to decide.
Okay, that's fine.
You know,
but I think low T is Donald Trump, the guy who's dodged the military and puts on 8 layers of orange makeup looking like a clown every day. That's the guy who I think is low T, not a guy like James Tallarico, who seems like a good, decent man. It doesn't attack people based on skin color, doesn't attack people based on sexuality, doesn't attack women on looks, okay, the way that Donald Trump does seems like almost on a daily basis. I think if you're doing that, then I think you're the one with the low T. And we're not talking about a podcaster here, okay? I'm a talk show host. I'm a political commentator. I'm not an elected official. I'm not the leader of the free world. Different standards for different people.
But shouldn't the respect be given to that office, regardless of who's holding it?
No, absolutely not. No. Why should I respect somebody who lies to the American people every day? Why should I respect somebody who only cares about himself and only enriches himself and his family? Why should I respect somebody? Why should I respect somebody like that? No, of course not. You think we should have to? Did you guys respect?
But he's the office holder. That's your argument, is that he's the office holder. So shouldn't it be a two-way street regardless?
Absolutely not. The fact that you say that you should have to respect Donald Trump because he's the president is insane. I completely disagree with that premise. And by the way, these are the same people who attack Joe Biden nonstop. He's in the bunker. He's sick. He's this. He's a pedophile. He sniffs hair. So I mean, listen.
Well, he does. Listen, I mean, we've seen it on video, dude.
Okay.
Like,
yeah. Well, who's the guy who's okay? So who's the guy who's in the Epstein files 40,000 times? Is it Joe Biden or is it Donald Trump? Who's the guy who's in the Epstein files? Who's the guy who's got 30?
Isn't that interesting, Brian? You can say that he's been listed 40,000 times, and yet there's not a single shred of proof. There's nothing. There's no nothing out of it. Nothing has come out of it or anything.
Okay. So
and the stuff that hasn't been released is still under an ongoing criminal investigation. And there's going to be names like we've heard on both the left and the right that are going to be in this. It's going to be mass chaos and anarchy. It's just straight up will be.
I don't care about chaos and anarchy. I want people held to account if they molested children. Has Joe Biden ever been found liable for sexually abusing somebody?
Not yet.
He hasn't. Okay. Has Donald Trump?
Not yet.
Wait a second. Donald Trump hasn't been found liable for sexually abusing somebody? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, civil cases, not criminally.
Yeah. Okay. So I just said liable. Please pay attention. And
Okay.
what is it?
Liable. Well, let's
Do I
talk
have a
about
stutter?
that specifically.
Let's
No,
try
you
this.
don't have a
Hold
stutter.
on. Let's try this again. Has Joe Biden been found liable for sexually abusing anybody? Yes or no?
No.
Thank you. Has Donald Trump been found liable for sexually abusing anybody? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, well then, Sarah, let's move on to the next person because we have another non-serious individual. Let
Well,
me
it's
try
not
to
being-
educate.
it's not being
hold on.
non-serious because
No,
when you're attacking-
No, I'm not attacking anybody. The fact of the matter is that Donald Trump was found liable in a
By who?
court in
By
New
who?
York.
A court in New York
by a
that is
jury,
made up
by
and
a-
comprised of
All right.
whom?
Well, you're not a-
By
you're
who,
not a
though,
serious
Brian?
person.
By who?
We have another-
By who?
Okay, by a jury of his peers, you're not a serious person. Next.
That are 90% Democrat.
By a jury.
It was a
Oh,
complete
really?
witch
Okay,
hunt,
hold on,
Brian.
Hold on.
It
hold
was
on,
a
hold on.
witch hunt.
Let's go with that. Okay, hold on. Can you name me one person on that jury, their name and their political affiliation?
I can't. No, I can't.
You can't.
But
Okay,
what,
then
what,
you're a
what,
moron.
what I do
Next.
know
Sarah,
that
this is why I
area in
call people
Manhattan is
morons.
90% Democrat.
All right, next.
I can do
Okay.
the math.
Sarah,
You
this
can't
is why I call
apparently,
people,
Brian.
This is why I call people morons on your panel. Next. Next.
Oh goodness. Effigy. Excuse me.
I'm gonna get a Powerade. I'll be right back. Give me 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Because
and I'll personally
Get your red,
you can hold
get your
on
red
to
dye
it for a
40.
second. I'll
Get your
say
blue tongue.
I don't think you
Your
guys
yellow
are
too.
morons.
Go ahead,
I
Brian.
love all of you, no matter what, and your opinions are your own, and you formulate them based on stuff that you read or watch or whatever. So I love you. Okay.
All right, so Sarah.
But before I make my
was
comment, I'll just
microaggressions
say
twice.
to the last comment that yeah, it doesn't invalidate any kind of court decision just because you don't like where it's done or who does it, right? That's what we get told every time a Supreme Court makes a decision. So I don't see
It
how
was a
that gets to be
weaponized
used right
trial,
now.
effigy. That's straight
Okay,
up. what-
right.
Sure.
It's only
Everybody's
weaponized.
at Trump.
It's only
You were afraid.
weaponized if
You
it
were
doesn't fit
afraid
their
that he was going
narrative.
to become
So,
the president
yeah,
again.
you had your
Wanted
turn for
to
the win.
slander him
You had
with
your
everything
turn.
else. Shame on you guys. Shame on you.
It's not. No,
sure.
Shame on you.
Cry me a fucking river, you fucking baby.
So
It's not.
Yeah,
Brian,
we
just
won,
not
good,
an
good
and
to
we're
see
not
you
going
again,
to
Brian.
lose power either, guys. So good luck with that. Good luck.
I'm just going to make
Good luck
I'm
with that,
just going to make a
sweetheart.
quick comment.
Sure.
Because I'm on Brian's side, so I want to let the people who are counter to you a little bit more time. So I was going to say something completely different, but then you guys went down this fucking rabbit hole, so I have to just jump in on this because apparently everybody's just lost their brain on basic shit. Yeah, language is how you process reality. When we use an identity, whether it's like ethnicity, religion, or anything else, as a slur, it rewires how people perceive that group. Pejorative identity labeling creates dehumanization. When people are repeatedly described with derogatory shorthand, it strips away empathy. And in social psychology, this is the prerequisite for systemic mistreatment. And it's harder to do that to people that you can actually see your own humanity reflected in. It is the literal foundation for how you get to the atrocities that we've seen in the world. You start with pejorative language and slurs, move on to harassment and open aggressions, systemic discriminations, extreme violent atrocities. So this is what we're talking about when you guys sit here and think it's okay just to try and turn someone's identity, name, or whatever into a slur just by saying it and be like,
Yeah.
I
think that's very well said. I just want to be clear.
Let's be honest.
Sorry
The real reason. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, Effigy, I'm sorry I interrupted you. 10 seconds here. I just wanted to, this is really important. And I agree with what you just said. It's not an opinion when you say Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. Now, you can disagree with it. You can say, well, I disagree with the jury. Okay, fine, whatever. But I'm not giving an opinion. Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. You could say, well, it was a kangaroo court. Fine, say whatever the fuck you want to say. I don't care. But the bottom line is that Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser, and a jury of his peers found him liable for abusing E. Jean Carroll. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. It's an opinion if you say, I don't agree with the jury. It's not an opinion when you say Donald Trump's a liable sexual abuser. It's very important.
Can I ask you? All right.
Well,
Also, let's just be honest. The real reason that they're attacking Talrico is that Talrico represents a stripe of left-wing Christianity that they cannot stand. A type of left-wing, here to heal, caring Christianity that is the antithesis to this right-wing Jesus carrying machine guns and dropping bombs on children fucking Christianity that is the heart of Christian nationalism. That's why they're going after Talrico so hard, not all this other shit.
How do you know what other people are thinking? How do you know that?
Andrew, We're still in round robin. No, stop it.
'Cause I'm
You know
psychic,
better.
What about us though? How do you know
Hold
that?
on. We're coming back. We're coming back. All right, let's move on. We're gonna do Clay and then
Really,
Connor.
really quick before we move on,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I didn't get to it before. On the Iran thing, all market manipulation. Every single time that he has said that the deal is in, it's all market manipulation. People putting bets in, putting bets on Polymarket, putting bets on the stock market every single fucking time, which is, I think, in the 40s at this point, the number of times he said we're about to have a deal, every single bit of it, market manipulation. Thank you.
Thank you, Effigy. And then we're going to do Clay, and then we'll get counterpoints, and then we will move into full open floor. So hang tight, everyone. I know it's hard to get through round robin sometimes. Clay, sir, your thoughts, please.
Hi. Thank you, Sarah, for putting this on. Hi, Brian. Welcome
What's up,
back.
man?
Thank you
What's
for coming
up?
back. Appreciate it.
Sure. I love the torture. I love it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I bet. Hey, it's a lot of fun over here, man. I tell you, Sarah's got the best show. She really does, man. I was gonna actually ask Effigy how it works whenever the same thing turns around on Christian, but he literally answered that for me before I even got to my point where I was going to talk. He literally did exactly what I was going to ask him about Christians and the getting turned around on Christians. But look, Brian, obviously, you know, we're not going to agree on everything. I sit center and I lean right. I'm not like these other guys. I don't give a damn about all this the sexuality bullshit as long as you keep it away from the little ones. None of that shit makes any sense to me. I don't see what the big fuss is. Like, even like going into a big, you know, fit over what somebody called you on the playground, you know, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 2 days ago. I don't see the big point of it. I did see, though, today's show with you and Andre, and I want to give you a big kudos on that. That was classy, bro. Like, I've seen Andre, and sometimes he's on, sometimes he's not. And today he was not. I did like how you pointed out how he was saying that he did not respect the Constitution. He actually said it. He said he did not respect the Constitution. He said it right out of his own mouth.
He just said it's a piece of paper. He said it was
just
a piece of paper, right?
I couldn't believe it.
Can I ask you, Clay, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Do you think Andre is serious with the things he says?
Not
or
after
do you think
today.
You think he just, because I don't think he's serious. I think he says things just to get a reaction. I was going to ask you that as
he
a
was
listener.
trolling you. He was trolling you.
Yeah.
I was trying to call in too, but you had a busy line, man. That was bloop, bloop, busy. Yeah.
I do have some good news though. Thank you. We are going to get Hunter Biden on the show. They've confirmed. So that's going to be an interesting interview. Who do I have tomorrow? Destiny. And did you see the Rubin Jubilee? Did you guys see that? It just came out in the last day.
Man, I'm so focused on local politics right now. In fact, I was going to ask you today, but since you're here, about that. Like, obviously, you do focus a lot on the federal politics. From what I understand, you're out of Vegas. You pay a lot of attention to your state and local politics, like your city.
I mean,
Vegas.
I'll be honest with you, not as much as I used to, because my job now is to cover the national stuff.
And that's
obviously, I think our governor Joe Lombardo is an absolute douchebag. I could give you a lot of reasons why.
I figure you probably don't agree with him. He's
well,
right off.
I'll give you a quick example of why I say that. I don't know if you know a woman by the name of Michelle Fiore. She's somebody that Donald Trump pardoned. She got money donated for a police officer fund for 2 fallen officers.
Yeah.
She was found guilty, and she was found guilty from using that money for liposuction and paying for her daughter's wedding. Joe Lombardo, the governor, called himself
a story about that. Yeah.
And here's what makes it worse, Clay. Joe Lombardo donated money to this fund. He openly called himself a victim in a court of law. When Donald Trump pardoned Michelle Fiore, which is a disgrace, Lombardo silenced crickets. He didn't say anything because he's a coward. He's a coward. And this is Joe Lombardo's a guy who used to be a police officer. He used to be the sheriff here. By the way, the sheriff we have now, Kevin McMahill, he's a Republican. He's a good guy. I'm friends with him. I would assume he probably voted for Trump, but he's a good, decent man. Lombardo is a piece of shit. So unfortunately, I think he's going to win re-election because I think the Democrats that are running against him are not the best candidates. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant here, but to
No,
answer
no,
your
no.
question,
I'm glad you're giving me your
yeah.
take on the local politics, right? So like that's what I do. I promote the idea of local politics, and I know that
So
somebody's got to
sadly-
do the Fed stuff too. So
yeah,
I
Michael
appreciate it.
McDonald, as I call him, Ronald McDonald, the chair of the Republican Party, is someone who was a part of the fake electorate scheme a few years ago. I think he's a really bad guy. The reason why I don't talk a lot of local politics is because it's not really what drives listeners.
Yeah, people know what's on the national level, and they know what's on the national level, whereas they only know what's in their own region too. So no, I understand that. So let's just quick on this this whole calling people names and shit. Like I said, it's not that big a deal. Man, I've been around these YouTube streets. People call me all sorts of names. It's really not that big a deal for me, right? And I do understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's a low blow, especially when you're in a position of power. In fact, there's this little thing called quelling speech, right? So when people have power, they have the ability to quell people's rights. And they can do that in various different ways. And in particular, when they go on offensive tactics with politics, right? So I personally have had my free speech attempted to be quelled within my public comments multiple times, multiple ways. And it's insanity because these counselors think that I'm not going to just notice it, right? And I'm like, you can't do that. You have a position of power. I don't. I can say certain things, whereas you have a position of power. You can't create a fear in me from being able to speak. And that's where it does get messy.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But the point I'm making, and I think you understand, is that when you're in that powerful position and you're an elected official, you're a Stephen Miller or a Donald Trump, there needs to be a higher standard. I'm sorry, you're supposed to be showing some leadership. When you call somebody trans or gay or low T, it's just so stupid. I guess these are the times that we're living in right now. It's one thing if you're a podcaster or you're somebody on this panel. Okay, that's one thing. Okay. But like when you're an elected official, I'm sorry. I just think that there's a higher standard. And I think Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and many people on the far right that are in Trump's administration are not abiding by what my opinion is would be those standards. And I think it's wrong. But you know what? It's going to bite them in the ass anyway. Yeah, because if that's all you're going to do is attack Tallarico and call him low T or gay or trans, guess what? Tallarico's winning in the polls right now. And if he defeats Ken Paxton, which I hope he does, I think he's an extremely intelligent young man. I was on a conservative talk show 5 or 6 years ago. I interviewed Tallarico. Nobody knew who he was. I was done with that interview.
And
I said, wow,
too, Brian,
that kid could be president one day. I really believe that.
Americans are, one, very smart and very compassionate, right? So I think that in this particular case, it's probably going to backfire more than Miller was hoping, right? But here's another thing, and I'm agreeing with the odd. Okay, I want you to know that, but I also want to bring up the point that the man himself, Mr. Tallarico, is not putting out any kind of statement about that he didn't like it or that he's offended or anything.
No, he's staying away. He's staying away from it. Yeah.
And I get the idea of white knighting. I do it. I get it. But I just want to bring that point out because it's a caution. And I get what you're doing. I understand it 100%. I'm all about it. I do it 100%. But at the same time, it's a caution. But at the same time, I do understand both sides. That's why I lean right, but I'm center, right?
But Clay, you would agree with me that Stephen Miller did this as an insult, as to mock
absolutely, 100%. Yeah, he intended it as an insult. It's just like if I called you.
Why is that so hard for people?
A pasty fool, right?
Exactly. Why is that so hard for people on this panel to admit? Like, I don't think you have to be an.
I don't think I don't think anybody's denying that part.
I think the idea is that it's a virtue signal to make a stink over, like, oh, he called him this.
That part,
But then in the same breath, Brian, you'll still call the Trump mushroom gobbler people, right?
Right. And if I was an elected official or I was the president or somebody,
would be held to a higher standard.
I would be held to a higher standard, and I can tell you right now, I wouldn't talk like that. But guess what?
Don't they represent
I'm just representing myself.
But what I'm saying
exactly.
is, don't.
You're making
but,
my point.
But the people
You're making
are
my
okay
point for me.
with this stuff.
The majority of the
No,
people don't
this
give a
is
damn,
just-
Brian. to be
This is
honest
just a
with you.
representation of
It's
society
true.
at its finest.
Just pointing it out.
Well,
that's all.
I
Finest.
represent myself. I don't
But
represent
I
a
understand
company,
your
and,
point too. Yes.
You know, I own my own company.
And I
don't-
love
I
that
don't-
you speak out against it because that is your job, but it's also your right, and you should. And so will I. I 100% right now. I will speak out against it and say that all things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial. How many times have I said that on this panel? Now, before I hand it over to Connor, I want to say thank you, and I want to say thank you to Sarah. And I also want to say that, Connor, you're a bitch. You're a pussy. You block people for just being normal fucking people in your chat. Fuck you.
Oh, wow. Where did that
I
come
don't know.
from?
I don't know.
Well, I've been there's
He
there's
went
a lot
on
of
a
people who are
blocking
defending
rampage,
jacking
and I
off the
just happened
kids
to
in
be
my
in there
chat
one
recently,
day.
so I've been
hold on,
banning
you're-
them.
Oh,
Okay,
I mean,
just to clarify, he went on a blocking rampage one day because he's got some very soft moderators. I mean, so soft. Let me tell you, these people are soft, softer than a lefty. Okay, they're soft. Okay, and he went on a rampage and just said, "Block everybody that disagrees with me," and that's literally how I got.
It's his channel. It's his channel.
It is.
I've blocked people for less, just for being douchebags. All right, but if the two of you need a speed date later, I'm happy to oblige. Connor, welcome back, my friend. It's been a while. I hope you've been well. I hear there's lots of stuff humdrumming around for you. But
yeah.
you have questions or comments for Brian, so I'll let you go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, so Brian, I've watched a couple of your debates so far, and I have enjoyed them. But the interesting thing to me that I kind of bumped into during one of your debates was effectively you were saying, "Oh, well, you know, I don't know why I would make this my business," and it was specifically in reference to abortion and sexual morality. And this was with Rachel Wilson. And the reason why that kind of argumentation, I'll just say it like it falls flat with me, is because we understand, and I know abortion isn't necessarily the two topics that are hot right now, but I wanted to bring it up anyways. Obviously, like we might be able to agree from a descriptive perspective, maybe not every conservative would agree, that an inseminated embryo doesn't have the same level of consciousness as a baby. But I think we can agree that there's a substantially higher level of development of a fetus at 20 weeks. So why, when we're arguing about abortion or sexual morality or something like that, don't you say, no, at some point, this is my business. I do have to make a moral judgment. I'm going to make a moral judgment. And even if the law lands someplace besides me, I'm still going to I'm still going to criticize my worldview. And that was part of my frustration with your argumentation was you were saying, oh, well, you know, I'm not a woman, so I can't get pregnant, so I'm not going to make this judgment.
Well, first of all, I don't think geography should have any play over a woman's body. In this country, in almost half the states in this country, abortion is illegal. I think that's ridiculous. That's number one. As far as abortion goes, I wouldn't have a problem with a 5-month ban or something along those lines. I've been pretty consistent on that. But I also believe that there are people on the far right that think that if you're a young girl that's raped, you should be forced to have that baby. I think that's repulsive. That should be a decision between the family, the victim. So I also think, or the victim of incest. There are people on the right that feel that way. The reason why I say yes, I'm a man and I don't know what it's like to be pregnant is because I feel like a lot of the policymakers and a lot of the people that were responsible for overturning Roe versus Wade are men, and they don't know what it's like to be pregnant. It is a personal decision that a woman should be making, I would assume, with her family, with people that love her, with doctors and that sort of thing. But I'll even take it a step further. For the people out there that call themselves pro-life, I want consistency. If you call yourself pro-life, then we should also care about that baby after the baby is born. For example, just about everybody on the right votes against maternity leave. They vote against every and any government program that would help a single mother raise that child. So I don't like to call people pro-life. I call them anti-abortion. I will call you pro-life, and I will respect your opinion on abortion a little bit more. And I don't know what your opinions are on this, by the way. I'm just speaking in general terms. If somebody will give government assistance or vote for candidates who vote for maternity leave and vote for government programs that can help women raise children, because that's also pro-life. And I believe you're anti-life if you're for this big and beautiful bill. Up to 20 million Americans losing their health care coverage. They're against maternity leave. They're against unemployment benefits. They're against all these government programs that can help these women raise these children. So I don't like to get into the Rachel Wilson stuff because I just think she's an absolutely repulsive human being and a hypocrite and a fake Christian. I will call her that. But in regards to people,
why do you think she's a fake Christian? Not that I'm trying to defend her honor necessarily. I just find that an interesting comment.
Her behaviors. Let's start off with, where would I even start with her? First of all, the multiple baby daddies. She tells other women how to live their lives, and yet she has multiple baby daddies. She fornicated with Andrew
but don't you
Wilson.
think sinners testifying on how to live is a part of the faith?
Hold on. Let me just continue, and then you can ask me anything you want. Has fornicated with Andrew Wilson. Then Andrew Wilson leaves her for another woman who lived in Nevada. You can look this up. It's public knowledge. Married a woman in 2010, then goes back to Rachel Wilson. That's number 2. Number 3, she thinks that all women shouldn't vote, yet she votes. She thinks that people shouldn't be allowed to vote if they don't have a job. She thinks that people shouldn't be allowed to vote. What if you're born with an illness? What if you have medical issues and you're on government assistance? She doesn't think that those people should vote. It's a repulsive way of thinking, and she's a hypocrite. And what a horrible ideology to have, to be so obsessed with this feminism stuff, because she's a one-trick pony. That's all she debates is feminism. I have never even discussed feminism in my life, let alone debated it. They paid me to go out there, but yet she doesn't want to talk about the economy. She doesn't want to talk about the lack of wage growth in this country, or the fact that there are so many Americans, women, and plenty of Americans that are struggling. She doesn't want to talk about kitchen table issues. She only wants to talk about this one issue. And the reason why I call her a fake Christian is because you look at the traditional Christian values, she hasn't lived up to those values at all. Now, she claims that in one of her relationships, she was abused. If that did happen to her, I feel bad for her. Where's the evidence that she was abused? Did she file a police report? So she makes these claims. Even if that was true, I wouldn't be judging her right now, my friend, if she wasn't judging everybody else. Do you know, in my debate, I asked her a simple question. What if you're a woman and you're 30 years old and you can't find a man? Then she made the accusation that most of these women, she said this in the debate, have slept with 50 men. So she's slut shaming all women that aren't married by the age of 30. So why shouldn't people do the same thing to her? Why does she let all these men have sex with her unprotected? Why does she have multiple baby daddies? You see, I don't judge others unless they decide to judge. She's a hypocrite.
Well,
to be fair, Saint Fotina, and sorry, Connor, but Saint Fotina had 5 prior husbands and was living with a man she wasn't even married to. She was the woman at the well that met Jesus, and she ended up becoming a saint.
And Sarah, that's okay. Sarah, that's okay. I'm not going to judge that unless that person is judging
because
everybody else.
You said
Right.
you don't think she's a Christian because 3 baby daddy thing and whatever.
But the reason why I'm bringing up her life is because she judges all these other women. All these other women past the age of 30 that don't have kids. She's slut shaming all of them. But if you're not going to judge all these other women, and you're not going to tell women, I don't want to tell people how to live their lives, then I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But she is fake. I believe her and Andrew Wilson are despicable human beings. They only have one goal in life. You know what their goal is? To win debates. You think they care about you think they care about helping women? Do you think Rachel's come up with ways on how to make women's lives easier? Does she help women? No. All they care about is winning debates because they're fucking idiots. That's why they're idiots. And that's all they do. All day long. You know what Rachel does? She goes on Twitter all day long and she tries to goat people into debating her. 8 months ago in DMs, I know she wants to, Brian DM'd me. I have the DM. She DM'd me and was basically begging me to debate her on feminism. I told her to go fuck herself. Then when the Uncensored America people reached out to me and they offered me a sum of money, and I said, okay, I'll take it for a 3-day vacation. I don't give a shit. That's what she does all day. She goes for low-hanging fruit on the feminism debate. All day long, she tries to goat people into debating her. She doesn't help people. She doesn't help women. That's what Andrew does as well. Sarah, I know you're not much of a fan of Andrew either. You know, I was just hanging out with some pretty prominent people on the right. I think Sarah knows who I'm talking about last week. And they also hate the Wilsons because they know they're phony and they're fake. They're phony, fake people. People could say whatever they want about me. I've been called every name in the book, but there's nothing phony about me. I say what I feel. Andrew and Rachel do this so they can grift and win debates. That's their only objective in life, is to just win debates. They don't even care if what they're saying is true or not. Just win the debate and get a high five and get the Andrew Wilson circle jerk crew. So I know I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I have.
I was about to say you kind of gave me a lot to work with. So I'm trying to think of where
just being honest,
where I should press on.
Just being honest.
Well, hold on. So actually, I'll bring up Ruth and Boaz and the Moabite woman who saved the Israelites. There's actually plenty of sluts in the Old Testament. But anyways, the point is that the reason why I'm bringing this up though is that you repeated something that I kind of take issue with, which is effectively it's like, well, the only reason why I'm judging them is because they're judging other people, but ultimately I don't want to judge. You live your life the way that you want to live your life. But obviously, in my opinion, there have to be reasonable limits to this. And so, for instance, like the harm, oftentimes when I encounter liberals, they're always asking for like specific exterior harm outside of the participant of a behavior. So if it's people doing heroin or people having early term abortions or people doing this or people doing that. But the truth is that oftentimes these behaviors are going to bleed out into other negative social consequences. So for instance, like I'll just stick with heroin as an example. Do you care if people consume heroin or not? Because they're living their own lives. They're not affecting you. So do you care one way or the other?
I don't want people to harm themselves. Obviously, you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. But if you're asking me, do I want people doing heroin? Of course, the honest answer would be no. I don't want people to harm themselves. And
do you
if
want
they
it
have an
criminalized?
addiction, well, it is. What do you mean? Heroin is illegal.
I'm asking you for a prescription. So you're saying that I don't want to tell people how to live, but what I would say is like, regardless of the law, I would tell people don't do fucking heroin. And if it wasn't a law, I would be trying to pass a law to do it. So what I'm asking you is if that law didn't exist, would you be promoting a law to make it criminally prohibited?
I would promote anything if I think it could save lives and help people in the long run. But it'd be like if I was debating and I had a cigarette in my mouth and I was telling people how horrible smoking cigarettes are. Don't do it. It's really bad. It'll cause cancer, secondhand smoke. And then during the entire debate, I'm smoking.
Well, that's an appeal to hypocrisy, though.
Correct?
It's still an appeal to hypocrisy. So I could be down by the river right now with a bunch of little kittens in a bag, drowning them. And I could look straight in your eye and say, don't drown kittens in the river. That's bad. Right.
You'd still be right.
My prescription is still correct. And you would be appealing to hypocrisy by saying, well, but you're doing it. Why should I listen to you?
So here's what I would say to that. And I'm sorry, what was your name, sir?
My name's Connor. My online handle is Counterpoints.
Gotcha. Okay. So Connor, here's my take as a whole, because we're talking about religion, obviously. My biggest problem with religion is people that push their beliefs on others. And I believe that's what the Wilsons do. If you want to be Christian, be Christian. If you want to be Jewish, be Jewish. If you want to be Muslim, be Muslim. Be any religion you want to be. Believe in what you want. Have your faith. It's fine. I just don't want it to affect other people. And my biggest issue with religion is how many people have died in the world because of their beliefs. We could be talking about every religion. People die because of their religion, because others think that they're superior. That's my biggest issue with religion as a whole. And I use the term hypocrisy. There are a lot of people, religious people, that are hypocrites. For example, a lot of people on the right that want the 10 commandments in our classrooms, but yet they break those same 10 commandments themselves. People that will preach the Bible, or Jewish people that will preach. It's not one religion. I'm talking about religion as a whole. I don't like hypocrites. I don't like hypocrisy. Yes, I do believe that the Wilsons are major hypocrites.
But if you look
and that's what.
Yeah, but if you look at the history of the 20th century, this is one of my frustrations. And also, if you look at like some of the more extreme elements of the left, you will oftentimes see religious impulses attached to secular frameworks. And so, I mean, if you look at like the history of the early 20th century and middle 20th century in reference to like authoritarian communism in China and Russia, these were broadly secular movements, but they were still incredibly fucking murderous. And so what I would be pointing out to you as a counterpoint, if we were having a debate right now, is the fact that like, yes, like dogma, authoritarianism, certainty, these are all things that can lead to massacre. But the thing that I don't like, because I think that this is a talking point that I don't think bears historical scrutiny, is the fact that this is a uniquely historical phenomena. We can look at recent secular ideologies that have been incredibly murderous.
Sure, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just choose not to be a very religious person, but I'm also not an atheist, right? I'm somewhere in the middle, I guess. I have a faith. But here's what I tell people that are very religious. You don't know if God exists any more than I do. You don't know if heaven or hell exists any more than I do. We won't know until we're dead. The difference between me and a lot of religious people is I don't tell you I'm right. We just don't know. I don't know. I'd like to think.
Yeah, but you can still make like a moral evaluation. So for instance, like, okay, one of this might be a poor example only because you've consistently set out harm against others as your limiting principle. Okay. So I understand that my analogies or my examples might be poor, but just bear with me for a second. So
okay.
My point though is that let's use like Aztec paganism as an example. You know, they worship the sun and they sacrificed human beings. Well, your limiting principle would be, well, don't sacrifice human beings, but you also wouldn't necessarily make a judgment about whether or not they had a good moral system outside of that because of harm. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you can still make moral judgments besides harm to others, and you should still have the balls to say, no, you're fucking wrong based off of this.
You know what I would respect? You know what I would respect, Connor? If somebody like Rachel or anybody said, you know what? I made mistakes. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. I don't want you to say the mistakes I made. Like a drug addict who's in recovery. Listen, don't do what I did. Don't go down the path I did. At least I would have a little respect. I'll tell you the other people that I really don't respect. The right-wing evangelicals that look up to Donald Trump like he's some sort of god. The guy who says the Bible is his favorite book, who holds it upside down and can't recite one verse in the Bible, the guy who sells the Bible for $60, the guy who's cheated on every woman he's ever been with. And yet I see these right-wing evangelicals having no problem putting all their support behind Donald Trump. Again, I find that extremely hypocritical. You don't have to like the policies put forth by the left, but this is the guy that you support, the guy who sells Bibles, the guy who uses the Bible as a prop, the guy who's never gone to church. I mean, it's just, I use the term hypocrisy a lot. I just want a little bit of consistency with people. That's all. I'm very consistent. I think the only person that hates Donald Trump more than I do is Melania Trump. I'm very consistent on that. And that's not because I have something called Trump derangement syndrome. It's because I'm someone I think that calls it as I see it. And, you know, I just think Trump's a morally repugnant, bankrupt guy. And I don't want people like that running the country.
I'll say I have plenty more to say, but I don't want to suck up the entire airtime. So
it's a good conversation.
I'm going to quickly read through some super chats. Thank you, Connor. And then we'll move into open floor. So you'll all be able to kind of start jumping back in on.
I've got about 45 minutes, Sarah.
Yep. So I'm going to read through these fast. Zombie Girl getting her membership over on Dragon Fist TV. Also gifting out the gift that keeps on giving over on that end. Zippy says, if he isn't trans, he shouldn't be offended. Can't be offended by something you aren't. Quick thought to that, Brian?
So can you read that one more time? I'm sorry.
If he isn't trans, he shouldn't be offended. You can't be offended by something that you aren't.
Yeah. So my whole argument is not about being offended. My whole argument was when you're an elected official or you're in a very powerful position, there should be a higher standard and you shouldn't be using third grade insults. It's not about, I don't think Tallarico was offended. I'm sure if you asked him, he would say it was stupid. And he'd probably be using the same language I'm using, that it's immature and it's beneath that position to talk like that. And I would imagine to some people it is offensive, but that's my biggest issue is not whether Tellerico is offended or not. It's that when you're an elected official and you're in a very powerful position, there should be a higher standard, and you shouldn't be using 8th grade insults or calling people gay or trans. It's just stupid. It's just, we should be better than that as a society, especially when you're in the White House in a very powerful position. So it's not really about who's offended or not. It's just about, choosing your words a little bit better. And when you're an elected official or you're in a very powerful position, you shouldn't be talking like that. That's my opinion.
Fair enough. Iotin sends love over on Andrew's side, says thanks for being on panel, Andrew. Texas Bully Mom asks, does Opie love her new bunny sibling? My puppy Opie found a bunny burrow and decided to drag one out. I was able to put the bunny back, and that bunny is currently its mama's problem, not mine. So hopefully Opie actually leaves her alone, because she was a very, very young baby bunny. Iotin sending in the Big Ten for Mater Love. Shout out to you. Zippy says, Andrew cooked. Can't wait till Thursday. Yes. If you haven't heard, our darling Andrew will be joining Brian Shapiro over on his show, his radio show this Thursday.
I have Isaiah Martin. I don't know if you guys know who Isaiah is. He's awesome. He's also coming on Thursday. Isaiah made Jubilee fame. His Jubilee performance, I thought, was incredible. African-American, Democrat, Isaiah. I've never had him on my show before, so he's actually coming on at 12:30. And I think that's why I told Andrew 1 o'clock. So unlike a live stream show, I have to be off the air by 2. So that's why I told him it's got to be a time limitation for an hour. But maybe we'll take some phone calls if Andrew wants to do that. Maybe we can do that.
Yeah, and it'll be just the two of you, so it'll be nice. Also, Dixon sending out 5 gifted memberships over on Andrew's side as well. Texas Bully Mom sends the Big Ten. Tomatoes on fire tonight. Yes, keep sending your love. Brian loves his APAC checks. You get APAC checks, Brian?
No, I don't. I don't know what he's talking about. I do not. I get checks that are not from APAC. They're usually from right-wing haters that help my algorithm on YouTube and Facebook and everything else.
Fair enough. Lathorn says that with the Big Ten, Ken Paxton was acquitted. His accusers were paid to smear him. You have people inaccurately calling people on the right, like Trump, a fascist, yet never read Giovanni Gentile. Any thoughts to that, Brian?
Sorry, I'm just plugging in my laptop here. Well, first of all, Ken Paxton, hold on, give me 1 second here, guys. I'm plugging in my, okay. So Ken Paxton, first of all, if we're going to talk about moral, Ken Paxton, you might want to talk about the Republican Party because they're the ones who outed him. So you might want to ask why the Republican Party outed him. So that'd be number one. Number two, his own ex-wife divorced him because of adultery, which he has not denied. And there's overwhelming evidence of that. As far as the criminal stuff goes, he was indicted, and you could take a look at the evidence that was presented. I guarantee you that if he wasn't a politician, he'd probably be in jail right now. The evidence is overwhelming. And not to mention a man who admitted to molesting a child. He spent 30 days in jail, and then Ken Paxton is the one that got him a deal and got him out in 30 days. So I don't really know what the argument here is when it comes to Ken Paxton. The Republican Party outed him themselves. So the evidence is overwhelming.
Fair enough. Socrates says with the Big Five, Brian regularly calls people mushroom gobblers on his show. Are you just angry at Stephen Miller said it, or are you angry at homophobic slurs?
So when I call somebody a Trump mushroom gobbler, I've called women and men that. So it has nothing to do with their sexuality. It's the dumbest argument I've ever heard. Oh, that's a homo. No, it's not. I call everybody that if I think they deserve it, women and men, and it has nothing to do with their sexuality. What it means is you're performing verbal fellatio on Donald Trump 24/7, and you're not capable of criticizing him for anything. So yeah, it has nothing to do with sexuality. That's kind of weird, but.
Iotin, does virtue signaling make the world better? I disagree. I think shaming does great things, though. Dixon with the gifted Dragon Fist membership. P. Fletch grabbing his membership, and Spin already handing out boots. Effigy and Alex were sent to the back. Kraut and Santa are now here. P. Fletch says overdue tomato tax. The forecast for this summer is fiery, but mostly peaceful, at least in the late PM to the wee hours of the AM. Brian, you are no different than Wilson. Just my opinion. Ooh,
I would say how so? First of all, to start, I was in the news business for about 12 years as a reporter, an actual real journalist. I'm not a journalist anymore. I'm a talk show host. I don't go on social media all day trying to get people to debate me. I do a talk show every day, and I talk about the news of the day and the news of the week, something that the Wilsons have never done. They've never had a job in media before. I'm nothing like them. I'm also not a chain-smoking alcoholic dad bod like Andrew Wilson, so we can get into that too. But I also don't make cartoons about middle-aged men either if I don't like them. Apparently, Andrew has a lot of time on his hands. I think he's made 4 or 5 cartoons about me.
Fair enough.
I would ask that person, give me one characteristic. How could I be similar to them?
And send your response with a dono. Spin City is giving himself a protection. He's got $20 to his name. And Andrew Santa is going to hold this boot for later. He mixed it up. P Fletch says, yes, this is to give Spin City some cover. So Spin's got another $10 as a protection. So you got 30 in the hole there, Spin. And then also Clay, you got another 10 to your name. And Socrates, last one, says, so Brian lied when calling Ken Paxton a criminal then, right?
No, it's not a lie. It's not a lie at all. He's still under indictment, by the way. You might want to take a look at that. But not a lie at all. I stand by everything I said. Unfortunately, when you're a powerful person in very powerful positions, this could go to people on the left or the right. You get sweetheart deals. I believe if Bill Cosby didn't have a lot of money, he'd still be in jail right now. I believe if O.J. Simpson didn't have money, I know he's dead now, but I do believe he would have been convicted of double murder. But you can go back and look at it. He's still under indictment. But these are the types of people that the Republican Party stand by, and it's mesmerizing to me.
All right, we are officially full open floor gauntlet mode. The same rules still apply. Don't be interrupting and talking all crazy over each other. Watch your TOS words. You say them, I boot you automatically. And if you are not already plugged in to the top right, if you want a dual stream, please feel free to go ahead and do so. All right.
Can I make an announcement? So just for people in my own chat, so Hunter Biden has agreed to do my show, which is pretty cool because I think the only person that's interviewed him in the last year is Candace Owens. I'm going to have a lot of challenging questions for him. It's not going to be a puffer type interview, so that's going to be fun. I'm doing Tim Pool's show at his studio June 12th. So I'll be out there in Virginia doing his show on June 12th, and I expect it'll be 4 against 1, but that's okay. I'm used to it. So yep.
Good deal. And there's over 600 watching right now between all of the platforms, so please feel free to make the content. Go ahead, Crop, kick us off.
Hey, how you doing, Sarah?
We are open floor. Go ahead, Crop. Yeah.
How you doing, Sarah? Thanks for having me. How you doing, Brian? How's your day so far?
Hey,
good?
Doing good. Thanks.
What's up, man? Don't mind me. I'm going to be rubbing my head. I kind of got a headache. I just want to see if you're actually consistent like you say you do, so bear with me. You were making fun of Trump's looks. By all means, I don't care if you do. I mean, words are words. To me. But you were saying chalking on makeup and all this other, wearing a girdle, pretty funny. Would you say the same? And anybody cut in here if they actually remember the name? Would you make the same comments of the appearance of that dude that was in charge of the health department before JFK Jr. took over, whatever the hell his name was?
No, and here's why. Here's why. To my understanding, that person wasn't. I hear music in the background, by the way. I don't know what that is.
Yep.
You guys hear that?
We could have played the Get Up music and gaslit.
Okay, I just wanted to.
But no, it's there.
I wanted to make sure that wasn't just me. Okay.
Are you going crazy?
So Donald Trump is the guy who mocks women on appearance, who literally has nicknames for people he disagrees with. If you're talking about the transgender person, I believe, that used to work in the Biden administration, the reason why I wouldn't do that to that person is because that person isn't behaving the same way that Donald Trump is behaving. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has literally nicknames for people he disagrees with. He also calls on the death of 6 elected officials several months ago. So again, the reason why I mock Donald Trump's appearance is because Donald Trump is the guy who is the president of the United States who mocks everybody that disagrees with him. Again, different standards for different people. If somebody is a horrible human, if somebody's a horrible human being and they're behaving in the way Donald Trump behaves, I don't care if they're a Democrat or a Republican, they deserve to be attacked verbally for the things they say. And that's why I do that for Donald Trump is a bully. He's a bully. So, that's how I feel about that.
So I just got one more question and then a statement in regards to the trans community. You say one of your reasons why you believe Trump is liable for sexual abuse is because he was found guilty in the Silva case by 9 out of 12 members of the jury, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying he's liable. He is liable. He was found liable in a court.
That's one of the reasons why you believe he did those things.
I don't believe. I didn't even say whether I believe it or not. All I said was he's a liable sexual abuser. You would agree with that, right?
Right, but an example you gave for that statement was because he was found by 9 out of the 12 jurors. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, he was found.
Okay, hold on. I got a follow up to that.
Yeah.
Do you know the Salem witch trials? Now bear with me here. Hopefully this is a good point. Do you know the Salem witch trials?
Fill me in. I'm unfamiliar.
All right, the Salem witch trials. It actually started over land dispute, believe it or not. But they gathered up a whole bunch of people, tried them in court with a jury, and found that they were witches and burned them to the stake. And I think they even may have hung some of them and beheaded them. So, I think that argument is moot just because he was found in the Silva matter of 9 of 12 jurors.
So if the argument,
anybody correct me if I'm wrong on that part.
So if the argument that you're bringing to the table is juries don't always get it right, so that's why I think Donald Trump is not a liable sexual abuser, you can have that opinion. I completely disagree with you. Never have I said that in every, the Central Park Five is a perfect example. Donald Trump, who people voted for on this panel, said that they all deserve the death penalty. He took out a page in the New York Times, never retracted, never apologized. Through DNA evidence, they were found not guilty. Never have I ever said that a jury always gets it right.
But no. He didn't say that, bro. I read about that. He said if they were guilty.
Yes, he did.
To
no, wrong,
okay.
sir.
Well, I'm not going to argue.
Let me just. Okay, you don't have to argue. I'm just going to give you a fact. He took out a page in the New York Times, and you can look that page up. An ad he paid a lot of money for it in the New York Times, calling on them to get the death penalty as a sentence. He since has never apologized for that, and he's never retracted for it.
If they were guilty,
they were convicted, and now, since then, some of them are actually running for office. They were found not guilty, and they were released through DNA evidence, and he never apologized for it. Never, not once.
All right. And I got a quick statement.
Can I just add, Kraut, just quickly, sorry to interrupt you. Just one more thing about what you were just talking about. It's not just that Donald Trump was found liable, okay? If this was a one-off and one woman accused him, okay, I could have a conversation with somebody and say, okay, maybe this person isn't credible, maybe not. There are 30 other women that have come forward, most of these women way before he got into public office, including his ex-wife in court documents in a deposition who claimed that he raped her. So this isn't just a one-off. You also have to look at context and the history. Yes, if somebody lives their entire life with a lot of money and one accuser comes forward, I'm not saying they're not telling the truth, but okay, let's take a look at that. But Donald Trump has a history. Look at all these women that have come forward way before he ran for office. His ex-wife claimed that, and then after he paid her off, she retracted it. So I think there's some credibility with a lot of these women. That's what a lot of credibility.
Well, do you know the difference between civilly liable and criminally liable? Can you give us the definition?
Is that a serious question? You don't think I know the difference?
Well, I think he wants to make sure, because if you settle out of something, you're not necessarily admitting fault. You're just saying, "Hey,
Donald Trump." So in the liable case, he didn't settle. He was found liable. Yes, there is a lower threshold when you're found civilly liable. So I'm not sure why he's asking me that, but it doesn't change my opinion. Okay,
I'm going to tell you why. The burden of proof to be held criminally liable for a criminal of.
He did.
Are you gonna? I know what he said.
You're repeating what I just said.
The burden of proof is higher. They didn't have enough burden of the proof.
Is there an echo in this?
Are you going to be an asshole? You don't want people to cut you off, but you cut everybody else off.
No,
why don't you practice what you preach?
You've already in the first.
How about shut up? How's that?
In the
How about
first
shut
5
up?
No. In the first
Well,
5
of
minutes
course
of this
not, because
conversation,
your retarded ass does exactly what everybody else does.
Here he goes again. In the first 5 minutes of this
People
conversation,
I'm giving you a fact.
All right,
fact
all
and
right, all
reality.
right,
Hey,
all
hey,
right.
I kinda
Put your
wanna-
dicks away.
I
Hold
kind of
on.
want to say
First of
one
all-
more thing, Brian, and then I'll let Spin have it. And this is more of a statement. I think now I'm not going to say you, because I think the first time I was ever on these we were debating that, but a lot of people who are pro-abortion are
not
also
pro-abortion.
pro. Well, I'm not saying
I don't
you.
like
I
that.
said a lot of right. A lot of
but
people who are pro-abortion.
Mick,
Hold on, let me finish,
Mick,
man. Let me land. Let me land.
I just don't. I know, but I don't like the term pro-abortion. It's not like we're all on trampolines jumping for joy when a woman has an abortion. We believe
Well,
in
a
the right
lot
to
of people
choose.
actually do that, but let me land it right quick. This is a
disagree.
statement. This isn't a question. A lot of people who are pro-abortion are also pro-trans, and I find it laughable and extremely hypocritical that the same people that claim to fight for women's rights, for bodily autonomy, to kill your offspring, are the same people who says, yeah, let that man in the bathroom because he claims he's a woman. I find it laughable. Now that's a statement that you can add on to that. That's a statement. That's not a question. That's a cold hard fact. It's extremely fucking hypocritical.
So you're comparing abortion to people going into restrooms? I'm trying to understand.
No.
the
I'm saying it's
correlation.
hypocritical. It's hypocritical.
What's the
That's what I'm
hypocritical? What's the
I
hypocritical?
mean, I just explained it, but I can
a
explain it
woman
again.
having the right to choose. Can you provide me a study that would show transgender women going into restrooms have a higher risk of committing a crime in that bathroom as somebody who's not transgender?
No.
Can you cite me a study that would show that?
This is why this was a statement, not a question. I never said trans woman.
I'm
That's a
asking you a
definition. I said men claiming to be women that do not transition, going into women's restrooms and putting those women on edge. And they're the same people who claim they fight for women's rights.
Where are you
and
getting
women's
that?
bodily
Where are you
autonomy.
getting that? Where
Well,
can
I think what
find that
his
study?
I think what his point is, right, is if you care so much about women's rights and protecting women's rights and their bodies, right, their bodily autonomy, what he's saying is that the left, the same left talking points that push for women's rights and protections, bodily autonomy, dear Lord, are the same people who also allow the threat thereof of women's bodies to be at risk of a man entering a bathroom, right? Whether it's
Yeah, so I
transgender
would-
or not, or people utilizing that stepping point,
Yeah.
or even you could go as far as men
Yeah.
in women's college sports or athletics and so on and so forth, because now you're not protecting the women, you're actually utilizing the feminist talking points against women and
80
bolstering
85
men through that argument.
85% of Democrats in just about every poll believe that transgender women shouldn't be competing with women on the playing field. I don't know what study you're referring to. I would love to hear a source where you're asking men who go into women's restrooms their thoughts on abortion. But I think these are two completely different things. Two completely different topics. We're talking about
Spin.
women.
What did I say?
and what they-
Trans or men who claim to be women? Spin. Go ahead and tell
It
Brian
doesn't
what I
ma-
said.
it does, whether you're trans or whether you're a man going into a woman's restroom, I would like to see a study that would that you could provide me, or a source that men who go into women's restrooms are being asked their thoughts on abortion. I've never seen a study like that before, but what I can tell you is that there's
You
no
missed the
evidence.
point. Even Sarah clarified my point, and you missed it completely.
I understand. I disagree with the premise of what you're talking about.
You
I
can't
think two could
disagree
be,
with something that's a fact. It's not.
two could be.
It's not.
Two could be true. I don't think
subjective.
I don't think it attacks women or their safety if a man goes into a restroom. I really don't.
It's not always about safety. It's about being at ease.
Let me ask
Like, I was
you.
having-
Can I
But aren't men a higher rate of sexual
Can I-
abusers than
can I-
women?
Can
You
I
wanted the
just-
stat. That's the stat. Hold on, Clay. Aren't men
I don't
higher
care
rate
about
of sexual
stats.
abuser than women?
Stats
That's the
don't mean a
stat. You
damn
asked
thing
for a
to
stat.
reality, Andrew.
Hold- No.
Look,
He asked
look,
for
I
a
want
stat. I'm
to
asking
know
you a
reality.
question.
Okay,
No,
don't
no,
go to stats.
hold on,
Please
Clay.
don't go to
I'm
stats.
asking you a
I
very
want to
simple
ask
question.
Brian about reality.
Let me ask
I
you
wanna
the
ask-
question.
Can I?
You
can I-
asked the question. I'm answering it.
You two are arguing over who gets to fight Brian.
No, dude, I'm asking him a question.
Go ahead with your
He asked for
stats. The
statistics.
stats are the fucking stupidest shit ever.
Look,
So
but
go
this
ahead
is a
and go.
simple one.
Go
And
with
the girl
stats for the
actually
next
got
hour.
Brian on this
Go
already.
with
on the
stats
modern
for
day
the
debate.
next
Hold
hour,
on, Clay.
Andrew.
All right,
Hold
all
on.
Go talk
right,
about
all
stats
right.
instead of
Brian.
reality.
Point out.
Go talk about
Dude, the
stats.
girl already got
All right. Let's get the stat and then we'll move to Clay. Go ahead,
the
Andrew.
girl already got Brian on this very point at modern day debate. I saw it. She came up and asked you the question, and you answered it,
What?
Brian, and admitted men are the majority of sexual abusers overall in statistics. So men going into girls' bathrooms are more dangerous statistically than just having women in there. That's the
Guess
stat.
what?
And I just want to
Guess
point
what?
one thing out because
Okay,
I probably won't.
I'll respond to that. I'll respond.
I
to
got to
that.
say one more thing
First
because
of
I
all,
probably won't get to talk again. Go ahead.
if a man wants to attack a woman, sadly, and if a man wants to commit a heinous crime, I can guarantee you what it says on the front of the bathroom is completely irrelevant. If a horrible human being wants
gives them
to
more
commit
access, better access.
if a horrible person wants to commit an assault, they're going to do it, whether it's in a bathroom or anywhere. So it's completely irrelevant to this conversation. And if you guys think that's a more important issue, because this is the thing that I don't understand. We're talking about sexual abuse and sexual assault. You know, there's so many other avenues that we can go to when it comes to this stuff. We could do two things at the same time. I personally believe a woman should have the right to choose. I also personally believe if a man is going into a restroom to assault a woman, then he's probably going to find other places to assault a woman if he's unable to do it in a woman's bathroom. So it doesn't make any sense to me, the point that we're making, you guys are trying to make here.
But were you
If a woman wants to commit-
were you pro-vaccine during COVID?
What does COVID
Were you
have to do with this
pro-vaccine during COVID? You said you support women's right to choose bodily autonomy. I'm asking you a question about consistency in your worldview.
Okay.
Were you pro-vaccine?
I'm gonna guess you're probably an anti-vaxxer, but I'll answer.
No,
your
I'm
question
asking if
anyway.
you are pro-vax.
And
I'm not saying anything about my position.
I took a vaccine myself because I'm a diabetic and my immune system is not as strong as the average person. My opinion on the vaccines are very simple. I never thought that they should have been mandated. I think it's a personal decision that everybody should have made with their personal physician that knows their medical history. I don't think anybody should have been mocked for getting vaccinated. People still mock people for getting vaccinated. And guess what? Millions of people died from COVID, and it's horrible. And I wish it didn't happen. So yes, I had a woman that had a big sign up that said, "My body, my choice." My body, my choice when it came to vaccines. And I said, okay, I'll go. Guess what? I'll go with you on that. But when it comes to abortion, it's not your body, your choice. Zero consistency.
Not me, pal.
Okay, so and I just want last thing.
No, come on, dude.
I'm almost done.
For a while.
We're going to move to you, and I'm not going to talk again. This is the last thing. I just want to point out to you, Brian, because earlier in the very beginning, I've been waiting the whole time to say this. In the very beginning, I was trying to explain to you that the trans comments were signaling to his base the policies, and you called me out and you said, "What policies?" And I said, "I don't know." Let me finish the question. And I said, "I don't know." That was the point, is that they were signaling that this person has trans policies.
Yeah.
That they
Let me
support.
respond to
And
that.
What do you know? What do you know? Exactly what I
Let me
said is the point. I looked them up. He notably opposed legislation that required students to play on sports teams matching their sex assigned at birth. He led an effort in Texas House office to include pronouns on staff or business cards. He voted against bans on on gender affirming care for minors. So that was my point. Is they're telling their voters,
I disagree, and I'll tell you why.
Policy.
Yeah.
It's
Guess
not
what,
about,
Andrew? Guess what?
These
Andrew,
are the
guess what?
policies. Did I
Okay,
guess
Andrew,
right?
Let me respond now.
Did I just
Let
guess?
me respond. Let me respond. First of all, you Googled it, and an hour ago you had no fucking
Right,
idea.
my
what you were
point
talking
was they
about.
were
So do I.
signaling to me
Hold on,
those were
let
the
me
policies
finish.
so I could look
Let
them
me
up.
finish.
That was the
Let me
point.
finish.
That was the
Let me
point.
finish. Let me
They were
respond.
telling me
That's
those are the
point.
policies so I can investigate. That was
Andrew,
the
you
point.
gotta let-
No, because
Andrew,
you're building a
it's not gonna
straw
go
man
good.
already. So you have to
Andrew,
contend with my
Andrew,
point. That's a
you're
straw
building-
man. My
You're
point was
building
it's
an
a
argument
signal.
of why are you going to let me respond, or are you
Yes.
just going to keep yelling?
Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Guess what? If somebody doesn't like somebody's fucking policies, in this case, maybe James Tellerico's policies when it comes to trans people, then fucking bring that up and talk about why you don't like the policies. Don't fucking be like an 8-year-old and call somebody trans. The fact that you think that's good messaging and that's a good
No,
communication
I didn't
skill.
say
No,
that.
wait, let me finish. Let
I didn't
me
say it was
finish.
good or bad.
Let
It's a straw
me
man.
finish. You
Right, but
haven't
you're
said whether it's
strawman.
good or bad. That's the whole argument. You haven't
No,
said
the
whether it's
argument
good
is
or
he's
bad.
telling
Let me
his
tell you-
base.
let
No,
me-
the
let
argument
me
is he's
fin-
telling them what the
You gotta
policies
let me
are,
finish.
which he was.
You gotta let me
I looked
finish.
it up. I was
You gotta
right.
you're not let me finish.
Can't
If you
stop
don't like
strawmanning.
James,
I can't wait till Thursday.
You can't stop strawmanning. You don't even understand the
All right,
premise.
you two, put your dicks away for a minute. Let's move on to Santa.
okay.
Santa's had his
Hold on,
hand
hold on.
raised. Go
Let
ahead.
me just
Brian,
quickly.
I
Well,
won't
because
do
you're
that.
the two of you.
Brian.
Here's what's happening. The two of you are just going to keep
Andrew.
getting more escalation, and
Andrew.
it's
won't
not
say
going to
anything. I want to
resolve.
hear his
No, no, no,
point.
no.
I won't say
It's just
anything.
going blah 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 blah.
And
That's
Sarah,
all I
if,
hear
if I
from
could
you
just
two.
get in a point after Santa, and then you
Andrew-
can swap me out. You got a
Andrew-
couple super
Yeah.
chats
Andrew-
want to kick me out. Then you
Andrew
can just
did
put me to the
interrupt.
back. But I got a good one here. So
Yeah,
let's
go
go
ahead.
real quick, guys. Okay? And then we'll just
Go ahead,
Just
Santa.
limited. We want to start. Thank you. Now,
Sarah, I'm about to get off.
I agree with you about powerful people not saying stuff. One of them, for example, is the House resolution against Representative Waters, Maxine Waters. Yeah, some people call it a riot. Sounds like a bunch of crazy people and did bad things for no reason. I maintain it was somewhat understandable, not acceptable, so I call it revolution. Maxine Waters, it's the House Resolution 327. Next point. She's going to
What are
get
you
rid
talking
of
about? What does this have to do
I'm
with the
talking
topics that we've been discussing?
You had a big bone in your ass about people in government and high
I had a
positions.
big bone in my ass. What are you, sir? What are you talking about?
You distract every time you get hit. You just
You're talking about
redirect.
Maxine Waters. What does that have to do with what we're talking about
That has
today?
to do with Stephen Miller talking and him not using the language you like either.
Oh, okay. So what? I'm sorry. So, what are you, sir? What the fuck are you talking about? Maxine
I'm
Waters
talking
didn't
about
attack.
you having a double standard and you interrupt everybody.
what did-
So please be
I-
quiet for a minute. Because
What did
your
Maxine
boy
Waters say?
Biden also said there should be a bullseye on Trump's back. Where was
And
your
do you know what he
outrage
was?
then?
Yeah, because you don't understand context because you're a Trump mushroom gobbling fucking moron.
I
That's the
never
context.
voted for president, idiot.
Yeah.
Make more assumptions.
You've never voted? You've never voted in your
No.
life?
No.
That's
Okay,
a
well,
waste of
thank
time. Then holy shit.
Yeah. He's a waste of my time. Let's move on to somebody else.
Oh yeah,
Holy
because you're
fuck.
gonna lose again.
Fuck.
Okay.
Then on top
All right,
of
Santa
the
Claus.
Wait, but
All
Andrew,
right,
you have no
all right,
stake.
hold on,
Why
hold
should
on.
you-
We're gonna do
why should you
this.
talk
We're
about
gonna-
it? You have no political stake. in it.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Hold on. If you want one-on-ones, you got to send money unless I determine otherwise.
Okay,
Stand
then
by.
can I use that?
Hold on.
Hey,
For fuck's
hey, come
sake,
on.
can I talk? All right, number one, for the win, I'm going to let you go, and then I'll boot you to the back. Bones
Can I just
obviously
say-
already. Bones already came up because Kraut dropped probably Wi-Fi issues, and Texas Bully Mom did pick for the win as well, but that already came through. So her replacement was you, Cassandra. Cassandra, I'm going to put you to the back and bring up the next person after that. All right, for the win,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just
Okay.
want to just quickly say that
Go
the
for it,
guy who
Brian.
never voted,
Fuck
the guy who
you,
never,
man.
the guy who
What
never
a-
voted before, the guy who never voted before has a bone in his ass. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, chaff and redirect, Brian. You have a double standard when
All
your
right, you're done.
politicians on
Santa
your
Claus, you're
side
done.
Threaten the lives of
Farley.
other people. I'm actually
Chris Farley.
on the left, you
Yeah,
idiot.
yeah. Chris
Fair
Farley
enough.
called.
You
He
just
wants
have
his dead
double
body back.
standards. Everything you people do, your people,
Yeah, my people.
not the left.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, where
go
were you
ahead.
when I was at
For the
Standing
win.
Rock in
Hold
that
on, Santa.
All right.
Where
Santa,
were
hold
you
on.
when I was protesting?
Santa, hold
You were talking
on.
with your
For fuck's
donkey.
sake.
So shut up, little boy.
Santa.
Andrew, get the bone. Get the bone
Santa.
out of your ass, Andrew.
Where's
No,
Santa Claus
no,
helper?
you know,
Put
you're
the-
so funny.
Santa, stop it. Stop it. All right, for the win, I know you got to get booted to the back. So if you'd
yep.
like to bring your quick comment up, and then we'll get you out.
Yeah, real quick here. So Brian, you know what you're mad about with the Talarico comment is that office means something. And when you folks were in charge, the comments of Mega is extremists, they're fascists, they're this, they're that. Last time I checked, nobody went to go and assassinate President Biden, but we've had 5 separate incidents with Trump. And simply put, that the left's violence is a problem. And
Okay, let's talk
out
about
of this
that.
comment, I don't see violence occurring out of it.
Yeah, let me just
Oh,
respond
shut
to
the
what you
fuck
just
up,
said.
retard.
Let me just respond to
very
it.
nice.
Shut up, Bones. I'm trying to hear what For the Win's saying, and so that Brian and him
Yeah.
can have a back
For
and
the
forth.
win's
Shut
got to
the
go
fuck up.
backstage anyway, so just let him spit it out real quick.
Let me just respond quickly to what you just said. I don't know who you're referring to who called MAGA supporters fascist, but I can tell you Donald Trump multiple times on the campaign trail called Kamala Harris fascist. I will also tell you the first assassination attempt of Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, luckily wasn't executed, but was attempted by a registered Republican from a MAGA family. The second assassination attempt on the golf course was from a man who once voted for Donald Trump back in 2016. But unlike you, I don't make assertions based on a couple people who try to do some horrible things and take it as the entire party. I've never called Donald Trump a fascist. I do think he's a wannabe dictator, but I've never called him a fascist. Donald Trump, I assume the guy who you voted for, called Kamala Harris a fascist multiple times. Find me a Democrat that threatened to execute 6 elected Republicans. That's what Donald Trump did 4 months ago. He literally threatened death on 6 elected officials for simply saying, don't abide by unlawful orders. So don't give me this.
No, again,
okay?
Biden said it countless times over the 4 years of calling MAGAs extremists in his
you think
in his
that's the
speech in
same?
Pennsylvania. Absolutely. When it comes from the leader of the free world, like you said, the office means something.
Calling
It's you're
somebody
being a
so let me
hypocrite
get this
completely.
right. Let me
You're
get
being
this
a
right.
hypocrite,
We do want to go
Brian.
tat. If we want to go tit for tat on assassination,
Well, that's not what
we
we're
have done
doing, bro.
Melissa Whitman, by the way.
Hold on. I don't know who that other person is talking about. Hold on. Let me just respond to this guy. So if you want to compare the president of the United States calling some of Donald Trump's supporters extremists. By the way, there are extremists on both sides. I don't think there's anything wrong
Absolutely.
with saying that.
Calling it
hold
out.
on, let me just hold on.
Go on.
Calling a group of people. He never said everybody that supports Donald Trump is an extremist. You're trying to compare Joe Biden saying that there are some extremists out there to Donald Trump threatening to execute 6 elected officials. There is no comparison there. By the way, January 6th doesn't happen if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the 202020 election. There is literally
was
no
stolen.
comparison.
It was stolen,
Donald
Brian.
Trump. Okay, well then
And you're
you're
gonna
not
have to
a
deal with
serious
another
person.
4 years of
You're
him
not
as
a-
well too. So
What's
suck on that.
your you're not a serious person.
Has to just shut up.
I told you in the last stream, I watched countless hours of all these people coming forward saying what they witnessed in that election. Look at State Farm Arena. There was a water main.
And yet
All
none of
fucking
it,
shit.
none of those
Look at
panned
this.
out in court. None of those panned out in court, unfortunately, for them. And I'm so sorry. Again, you can try and litigate this all you want, but unfortunately, the court said that there was no definitive fraud that was able to overturn any elections. So good luck.
Well, wait
good
and
luck
see.
finding new
Donald
stuff.
Trump
though.
also
That's cool.
Donald Trump also had 61 opportunities in a court. By the way, to this point, no one's ever proven widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of the election. So if you want to believe that the earth is flat and that Donald
It's
Trump
not
won the
flat.
2020
No.
election, you can go ahead and you can believe that, but you are not a serious person.
Yeah,
Next.
neither are you.
Well, guess what? I'm not here to talk to you, bro. Okay. You're here to talk to me. Okay. Have a nice day.
Okay, I actually, Brian, I gotta say, I was pretty fucking critical of you as a debater, but I gotta say, like, you're pretty fucking ready for this environment. So, if you ever bump into a
counterpoint.
clip where I'm being
You gotta
harsh to you, just bear in mind, like, it's
counterpoint.
almost
I
magical to see in
When
person.
you make shit up.
Counterpoints. Will you shut the fuck up? I'm not talking to you. Shut the fuck up. I'm not
I know.
talking.
We're all
I
here
thought
to
Brother
talk
Win was
to
supposed
you.
to be
Stick a
gone.
bone.
They were supposed to leave,
Santa
buddy.
Claus, stick a bone in your ass and shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
Santa, do you want to use your
I
credit for
presented
the
facts.
speed date?
I want
Counterpoints.
I got a credit.
Can I
Yes.
talk to the guy? Can I talk to the guy who just addressed me? Will you please shut the fuck up? Thank you. Counterpoints. I appreciate
we're
you saying that.
one-on-one. I posted the Maxine Waters thing. No reason for ad hominem attacks and name calling. You aren't here for me, fine, but I am apparently here for you. The second part, you represented that leaders in positions of accountability and high authority in the admin should be held accountable. So what was the context at a political event when Biden said that there should be a target mark on Trump? Oh yeah, see, now we're just.
Are you asking me a question? So how
I
about be
did
quiet
ask
and let
you
me
a
respond?
question.
So shut the fuck up. I'm waiting for you to shut the
over
fuck up.
people. I'm ready for you to answer, please. You're childish, man. Come on, answer the question, please.
Then shut the fuck up. Stop
okay,
talking.
power game. Please go.
So when it comes to Maxine Waters' statements, I believe she also made the statement of we need to be confrontational.
Yes.
While I don't believe that wasn't a question. While I don't believe that rises to the level of any of the rhetoric that Donald Trump uses on a regular basis. For example, I'd like to rough that guy up and pay his legal bills, which is something that Donald Trump said. While I don't believe that it rises to that level and that Maxine Waters didn't, start an insurrection, I will say this. I don't like some of the language that Maxine Waters has used in the past. Not every Democrat I agree with. In fact, I call them out when they say things that I disagree. But to try to compare the two and say that Maxine Waters has incited anywhere near a type of violence that the president of the United States has, which would be January 6th, and many other incidents that I could, like, for example, the Texas El Paso shooting in Walmart. I'm not a fan of Maxine Waters. I don't defend Maxine Waters.
Well, I was specifically replying to when you were talking about Stephen Miller and that people high in the administration.
I didn't say, sir, Andrew, I didn't say Stephen Miller incited violence. What I did say was...
I didn't say that either.
Okay, well, we're talking about violence, okay? What I am saying is that...
I was talking about her words.
Okay, I don't agree with her words all the time, and I never have, and I've spoken up about that. Sure. I've spoken up about that, but I will also say that when you're Stephen Miller and you have a huge, powerful position that he has, and you attack somebody and call somebody trans, it's stupid and it's ridiculous, and I think it's wrong. I don't think people should be telling other people to gang up in restaurants. I think Maxine Waters had made a statement about if you see MAGA supporters in restaurants, you should gather around them. And I don't agree with that type of language either. But why does it always have to be whataboutism? Why can't we all just say, you know what Stephen Miller did was stupid and he shouldn't have done that?
I didn't say that what Stephen Miller said wasn't stupid. You and I actually agree.
But I know, but what I just
saying the counterpoint, not meaning whatever. Please let me finish too. Okay. I'm saying here are other examples. There are several other examples that I gave that people higher in administrations and those things have done the same thing. And my follow-up question be, are you also holding them accountable?
I disagree. First of all, I disagree. I don't think we've had anybody that has come up with the daily rhetoric and the things that Donald Trump has said and done and does every day. The man literally has nicknames for people that he disagrees with, and he calls for the death of elected officials. So no, I disagree with you. I think this is monumental. Let me ask you a question, Andrew. Do you think that January 6th happens if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the election?
Well, one, let's say challenge, because I agree with you. Nothing's been adjudicated that it was needed to be overturned. Okay, I'm annoyingly in the middle. I do believe that his rhetoric helped it, just like stuff with BLM and Maxine Waters and Jeffries and other people.
I think BLM happened.
But the difference is he's president.
Correct, but I do think BLM happened not because of what some Democrats said. BLM happened because Derek Chauvin's knee was on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, and I think I don't condone any of the violence. I don't condone any of the bad stuff that happened. But I do think most of the people at BLM that were protesting were not violent, and I think most of those people wanted equality, and they hated that video. I hated watching that video too. And I think, I don't think Maxine Waters is the reason why anybody assaulted police officers. But I will tell you this, the Democrats don't have a $1.7 billion slush fund for any people who did violent things during those BLM protests. Joe Biden didn't pardon anybody during those BLM protests, as far as I know. Donald Trump not only pardoned 1,500 people, but now they're going to be making people millionaires, some of those people who beat cops. They will not rule it out because they're going to be paying the Enrique Tarrios and people that beat cops. I don't think Maxine Waters would reward anybody for beating a police officer. That's the difference between the Republican and Democrat Party today. A $1.7 billion slush fund to literally reward people who assaulted police officers. It's insane to me. It's insane.
I don't disagree with that either. But
this music is very difficult.
So used to being incensed by hearing anything that's not their drumbeat, that is outside their tribe.
If anybody incites
to each other,
Andrew, if anybody incites violence on the left, I'll be the first person to call it out and say it's wrong. I've called out anybody who's assaulted ICE officers. I've said, stop following ICE officers. It's not going to help. Don't throw things at ICE officers. It's going to make it worse. I've always told people there are bad cops out there, but that doesn't mean that you should just run away from police or resist arrest. I don't condone any assault on any ICE officers or law enforcement. But guess what? When you're a trained, professional, you also should be de-escalating things. And I think a lot of ICE officers that I saw in Minneapolis weren't doing that.
Absolutely.
And by the way,
just wanted to
officially,
get in those and challenge those things. I'm for people above everything else. And Cassandra, you rocked it tonight.
Andrew, the bone is officially out of my ass, just so you know.
Ooh.
So,
Hey,
Brian,
hey,
you
that's
said
all I
earlier. So, Brian,
Thank
you
you.
said earlier.
I
so
have 5
you
minutes.
Okay, so this will take 1 minute. You said earlier you don't give a fuck about what anybody calls you, right?
I never said that.
Yes,
Never
you
said that.
did. Yes,
What
you
I did
did.
say, when I'm talking about libtard and idiot and moron and those types of comments.
Really, that's
but I
what you
also-
are. But
Okay.
anyway,
Okay, well, I don't.
you
I don't
said,
care what,
and I quote,
I don't care
roll
what.
it.
I don't care what
I'll
your
send,
opinion
you
is
know what,
about me,
Brian?
bro.
I'll send it
I
to
don't
you. I'll
care.
send it to you in a clip where you said it.
I don't care.
My
I'm not
point
gonna read your
is,
stupid clip.
you
don't have a point, bro.
Of course
You don't have a
not.
point.
I do have a point, libtard.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sarah, move on to the
you
next person. I'm not
said-
listening to this guy.
you
Angry
said-
American, go fuck yourself. I'm not listening to you.
Of
You're not
course,
listening.
because I frustrate you, and
Is there
that's good.
anybody
That's
else?
why I'm here.
No, it's because you don't frustrate.
I frustrate you because I call you out on your dumb shit. Okay?
You're right, Angry.
I call you out
Angry.
on your
Let's
dumb
get to
shit.
the- let's
Is there
get to the
anybody else?
question.
Trying to, but he
Yeah,
won't
let's-
shut up.
Well,
To
get
be
to
fair,
the-
you frustrate us all.
I've been trying.
Get to the
Angry
question.
American, take your medication. And go fuck
The question is, you said, and I quote, I don't care what anybody calls me. So why would you care if somebody called somebody a trans?
Okay, am I going to let me answer?
That makes you a bigot, sir.
Are you going to
That
shut
makes
up?
you a bigot.
Was that a question or was that rhetorical? Was that or are you
That
going
was,
to let me answer?
it was more rhetorical.
It was
Okay,
retarded.
so move on to the next person and go fuck yourself.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I
Chris.
have a question. Thank you. Brian, are you a narcissist?
What kind
I'm
of
sorry,
question
you're
is
asking me
that?
if I'm a narcissist. Let's
Are
move on to
you
the
a
next question.
narcissist?
I've got 4 minutes and then I have a business call, so that's
Oh,
not a
oh, oh,
serious
can-
question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
I need
Kay.
to. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Hi.
Hopefully it's a better question.
Yeah. I'm on the left, so I'm kind of like everything you've been saying tonight has been like just soothing to my ears because there's too many insane people on these panels.
They're not all insane. There's some good people on these panels too.
Yeah, there's just too many insane people. But yeah,
I like Clay. I think Clay's a good guy. I think Counterpoints is a really intelligent guy. I think Effigy.
Hopefully, we can have another fight a different day.
I actually
Yeah.
don't think Andrew James. We got off on the wrong foot, but I don't think Andrew James is an unreasonable guy. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I am. There's just a few people here that don't ask very intelligent questions, but those people that I mentioned, I thought have asked some pretty good questions, actually.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
Well, they
you
agree with you. Of course you do.
I don't know much about you, I'm afraid. You host like a radio show, right? Sort of like podcast.
I'm a
type idea.
nobody. Yeah, I'm a nobody.
You're
they
getting
just
Hunter
invite me
Biden. You're not a nobody. Okay.
I do.
Let's be
I do a talk show, and I do a bunch of TV and stuff. But
Right.
I still consider myself a nobody.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
What do you feel you get out of being on this panel and having to
Well, not everything I do.
deal with these
That's
questions?
a good question. Not everything I do, I always have to get something out of.
No,
I think Sarah's a nice person, and she's treated me with respect. And sometimes when people ask me to do podcasts and stuff, I get about 3 to 5 requests a week. I usually don't do any of them because I'm not getting something out of it, and I don't know them personally. But usually I do shows, the TV shows and stuff with extremely large followings. But not every time somebody asks me to do a show do I always say to myself, "Geez, what am I getting out of that?" I think that would be extremely selfish. And sometimes when I do shows, I don't always do shows to make sure that I get something out of it. But I also like having most conversations with people that I disagree with, to be honest with you. I enjoy it, actually. But, there are some shows that I do that I will never do again. I'll never do Jesse Lee Peterson again. I think he's a complete asshole and a troll.
That, bro. I know exactly what you're saying, bro. I used to watch him a lot. Me being leaning right, and at some point I realized that the guy was basically kind of like Andre, just kind of a shield.
I agree. It's funny you say that because some people texted me today and they said he sounded like Jesse. You're not the first person to say that.
It was for it, bro.
So
it's funny. I always thought people were just entertained because it was like a guy 1 point away from being mentally retarded.
I mean, they have a lot of good information. In my opinion, they have good information, but they use it. Weaponize.
I didn't know who Jesse Lee was before I did his show, and that was my mistake. I didn't do a lot of homework. But then when I do shows like Pierce, he's got one of the biggest shows around.
That you got completely destroyed on.
Okay, well, thank you. I greatly value your opinion just as much as my last bathroom visit. But here's the difference between me and you, sir. Sir, here's the difference between me and you. They're inviting me on these shows, and people pay me to debate, and nobody cares or knows who the fuck you are. Just remember that before you go to sleep tonight. Tim Pool is a guy that has a huge following, and I'll always do his show when he asks me. But of course, that's funny.
I'm not a fan of that, Brian. You know that? I'm not a fan of the whole like my dick's bigger than yours thing, man. That's just so.
My dick's bigger than all y'all's. You shut
very
up.
nouveau riche.
Shit on this panel,
like
bro.
when
It's
somebody,
like poor people say.
Yeah, when somebody's just going to make stupid comments about me and say stuff. Sometimes, unfortunately, I go down to their level. It's just the way I am. I guess I need to grow up. But
See, Clay, he really doesn't know, and that's fucking perfect. If you were on a panel with like-minded people like yourself, you would get along. You would get along. You would not be as stupid as you are with me.
Angry.
Enjoys the combative nature of conversation.
Hold on, I gotta go here in a minute. But
need to fuck and get it over.
Maybe why go to your business call.
I just want Angry to do one thing for me tonight before he goes to sleep. After he pleasures himself to my poster in his bedroom, take off your Donald Trump knee pads and wipe your mouth. That's all I want.
Oh my!
One more question for you, Brian, before you go.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Angry, you're done. Kay's got you had your time. Go ahead, Kay.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
you might, if you look behind me, you might guess as to what this question will be. Who's your favorite Transformers character?
I really don't have one. I never got into Transformers. I think I got Angry very upset. I think Angry just left. And
question.
Yeah, that's smarter than anything you've said the entire show, asshole. I grew up liking Superman. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I loved Reeves and Superman.
That's not weird at all.
There it is, Brian. Yes.
Not Dean Cain. Not the Dean Cain Superman. By the way, I've gotten into it with him on social media.
Ben Affleck Superman?
Yeah, that's fair. I like Ben Affleck.
Which one's your favorite Superman?
Well, listen, I met Chris Reeves and his wife, his dear wife, at a New York Rangers game when I was 21 years old, and I'll never forget it. I was so intimidated. I was so scared. I mean, obviously he was in his wheelchair. His wife was so beautiful. And I almost crapped my pants. I was so scared because that was one of the first big celebrities that I met. And it was just such an honor just to meet him. He was a huge hockey fan. He went to a lot of Rangers games, and I love those Superman movies, man. Nobody ever will be Chris Reeves. I don't know if you guys ever saw the documentary on Chris Reeves. It came out a couple years ago. It was so good. It was a tearjerker. But anyway, to answer your question, I'm sorry. I do have a few Donald Trump figures behind me, though. I know Kay, you're going to be very disappointed. I have a couple action figures here. Okay.
I get the most action.
Yeah.
It's me, Donald Trump.
I love how Donald Trump lives free rent in your mind, dude.
It's
he's the president of the. He's the president of the United States, dumbass. I'm a news talk show host. It's my job to cover the president, you fucking moron. Anyway, this is Lumberg.
It's your job.
Spin City News, you should know about this, considering you know Spin City News your name.
Give me a minute.
I have a little bit of an own goal.
By the way, I don't know if you could pull.
Sarah, who's in the back?
That's a John McCain letter.
We got
So John
Alex
McCain-
for the win, Santa, Toasty, and Paul Stankiewicz.
All right,
Stankiewicz.
By the way, Spin, every time you boot me,
Tons of goo.
this Atlanta sour gets more delicious, by the way.
Oh. So we're booting Bones and bringing up who?
For the win.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Oh,
I got-
pobrecito.
5 minutes. I got everybody.
Sarah,
and I
if you
really
want
gotta
to
go.
bring up
5
Toasty,
minutes.
I think Toasty's got a question for Brian. If I could do that,
Yeah, go ahead.
before Brian leaves.
Go ahead.
Sure.
That's fine. Whatever you want to do, Sarah.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Toasty. Toasty, today's not the day to have a lag.
Well, Toasty's lagging. I did want to get back
How you
to
doing,
some.
Brian?
Oh, here we go. Here he is.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, all right. Can I ask the panel to be quiet, please?
Go ahead, Toasty. Hurry.
Well, it's kind of hard to want to go ahead when everybody's talking.
Just do it, Toasty.
He's lagging really bad.
Mm-hmm. God damn it, Toasty.
Must
Yep.
be on his Obama phone.
All right.
All right.
I got a question for you. So I have a shirt here, right here, that says "Feed me to the lesbians." Is that offensive?
You have a shirt that says "Feed me to the lesbians." Is that offensive?
Yeah, I got a T-shirt that says "Feed me." To the
I
lesbians."
am.
Is that offensive?
I'm not offended by that. You're also not in the White House working for Donald Trump and an elected official. Haven't I already been through this like for the last 2 hours? You're a guy on a podcast show that's not an elected official. If you have a shirt that some people might find offensive, it's not the same as somebody who's Stephen Miller, who's in the White House. There are higher. there
It's
should
not,
be
it's
higher
not an
standards.
elected official. But Spencer's had,
Like, for example, if Stephen Miller walked into the White House today and he wore that
my
same shirt
God.
that you were wearing, I would say that that would be inappropriate because of his stature, his job, and where he's at. You're just a dude on a show, so I think it's very different. Do you understand the difference?
What about if somebody in the Obama administration
Oh my God.
would have
Angry, we're not talking to you.
Actually,
shut the fuck up.
actually, here, let me
Hold on.
hold on. Let me jump in because, yeah, I think there might be some degree of expectation we would have for our elected representatives, but I also, hold on. But I also think that it's fair to say I appreciate the fact that they are front facing and transparent to us with anything that they think, right? I would much rather them call somebody the F slur or whatever to publicly than to be saying it behind the scenes and then present as if there's some blessed
I disagree.
Christian being an
Sir,
all nice.
I disagree with you. I think what Kanye West did with his anti-Semitism and his hateful rhetoric and praising Adolf Hitler, I think it caused a lot of anti-Semitism in this country. I think if people are that hateful, I would rather them be silent about it than to go public on it, and then other people will be copycatters. So, but again, if somebody in the White House walks in there and wears a shirt that this gentleman is wearing, it's very different than somebody like him doing that. So I think, again, higher standards, different standards for certain people. And that's how I feel
like
about that.
for instance, like this Epstein stuff, right? Wouldn't you rather be on the forefront or front facing? I should say for somebody with their belief system or something that's as immoral as that. I would much rather them be in the public because, like I said earlier, when I brought up the shaming concept and how shaming is good. So, for instance, Stephen Miller saying this or Trump saying that or any elected official saying whatever. With that can come potentially shame if the society as a whole deems that as immoral or improper behavior. And then the shame would be what would shut that type of behavior down.
Sarah, maybe 10 years ago, I would agree with you. But, they elected the guy who talked about grabbing women by the pussy. Forgive my French. So I think we're living in
being
times
grabbed
now.
by the pussy.
Well,
with consent, Sarah. Obviously.
I think in these times,
Shame doesn't work unless you have leaders who are exhibiting moral behavior from which people want to follow, right?
And who's doing that?
I agree.
And who's doing that?
Yeah,
No
they're
one
all
anymore.
they're all shitty. It's like what's that?
don't think they all are.
What's
I don't
that?
think they all are.
What's that
It's
phrase
Who's
where
not?
it's like
It's
I wish all
degrees
of
of
our
shitty.
politicians wore their sponsors
Listen.
on their jackets like race car drivers so that at least we knew exactly
Carlin.
what kind of
I don't
assholes
think.
were sponsoring
I
them.
don't.
Yes.
I don't think they're all shitty. I would imagine there are people on this panel that dislike Barack Obama, but I can tell you Barack Obama ain't in the Epstein files. He's never had some scandal where he cheated on his wife or was
Oh,
accused
God.
of raping anybody. I do think that there are Bernie Sanders types. There are people that have lived good, decent lives. The guy right behind me here, John McCain. Okay. I didn't agree with him on everything, but he was a hero. And I think he was a decent man who lived an honorable life. Mitt Romney, didn't always agree with him. I think Mitt Romney's a decent human being. And I
By
think
your
there are
standards.
okay.
By
well,
your
if you-
standards.
okay. Again, I don't know what your standards are. Okay. But
Exactly.
yeah. Guys, I
What
gotta
does
go.
that
hold on.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry. Go ahead.
Brian's got a hot date. He's got to go.
No. It's a business call, actually, believe it or not. But thank you, Sarah.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
he's
you, everybody.
out for fucking booty call. That's what's going on here.
Oh,
It's
Go
definitely-
ahead, Brian.
I look forward to
Definitely.
the next one, Brian.
Definitely not that, but I promise you guys next time I'll try to have a little bit more time. But I have a little bit of work I got to attend to. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks, Sarah. And you guys
Bye, Brian.
have a good night, okay? Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Let's see who was next in line.
I figured out what was going
There we
on with
go.
me. I had the main channel volume up, so I could not hear anything.
Don't drag me down.
Toasty. All right. I do believe, I will say for the win, Santa gave up his seat for the win to come up. So Toasty, I'm going to put you back and bring for the win up since that was the what was requested. All right, back to business. I know we've got some lefties on here. We've got Kay, we've got Alex, we've got Effigy, and we've got some independents.
We got counterpoints.
We've got Connor, we've got conservative, we got right leaning, we've got left leaning, we got conspiracy, we've got just a little bit of everyone up here. So we will continue forward.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sarah, how many ladies do you have in your audience typically? What percentage of ladies do you have in the
We've
audience?
got quite a bit. We've got Texas Bully Mom. We've got Iotin. I know I saw School of Thought, THOT in there. We've got my mom. My mom's in there. We've got everybody say hi, Mom. Let's see. There's someone named
Tomatoes in the chat. Tomatoes in the chat. Mama Tomato.
Actually, let's do this. If you are a lady in the chat, please send tomatoes into the chat so you can stand up. Pepper's raising her hand. Send a mater and we'll do a ladies call shout out. But yeah, I think we're probably like 10% female audience. We're moving.
All right. While the ladies are putting their tomatoes into the chat, this is your PSA, which you may not have known about. Ladies, how many times have you gone into the ladies' room and found the toilet seat is wet and or in the upright position? And would you like to know? Would you like to know why that is, ladies?
Yeah.
Because there are trans women who hate biological women and intentionally go into the bathrooms and urinate upon the seats. I
Is
just
that
wanted
your
to drop that
conspiracy theory?
fact. No, that's because I am a transsexual who lived as a woman, and I knew autogynephiles in the community who admittedly went into the bathrooms to pee on the seats because they hate women.
It's amazing.
That's the
whenever
worst.
I-
All right. If you were watching over on Brian's side, I do need to shut down his show for safety purposes, especially with this group. So if you're watching over on Brian's side and you'd like to continue hanging out with us, we'd love to have you in our audience. We'd love for you to come hang out. We are over at the Raging Tomato, so feel free to make your way over right now. And otherwise, I'm going to shut you down on that side. We love you. We'll see you on